Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you all for joining me today, Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Big show today, a bunch of stuff I want to talk about with you guys. The show's only made possible thanks to you and your support. The Power Chat link is over in the live chat where we're streaming on Rumble and Odyssey, and in the description box down below. Make sure to subscribe and share. Everybody give a share. Gonna get into a little Passion of the Moshiach today. I meant to title it Passion of Moshiach, and I put Passion of Christ. Just realized that now. We got our magical comic book superhero, Jesus, the Golem of Judaism that Judaized the nation. Some nice AI art there somebody put together for the thumbnail. Shoot, I forgot. I meant to start us off with this compilation, so I guess we'll save it for later. The secret agents who started the Christian deception. We'll save that for later. Wotan Wednesday, yeah. I like that. Shalom, fellow Gentiles. Everybody remember the rules around here, right? Everybody know the rules? It's right here.
You damn right I love the Jews. Absolutely. 100%. Because I'm a Christian.
Amen.
Jesus is a Jew.
That's right.
So you damn right I stand with the Jews.
You damn right. My tribe is
100%.
Jesus. 100%. You damn right. You damn right it is. We got another good God-fearing patriot, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, makes historic visit to Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank of Palestine, declares that these biblical lands belong to Israel by right because of the Bible. Everybody knows why. Because the Bible, right? It's theirs because...
I read about it in a book.
Mel Gibson's coming out now with Passion of the Christ sequel, splitting it into 2 movies because there's nothing they hate more, in theaters everywhere, coming soon to a theater near you because there's nothing they hate more. I'm sure this will give a little boost for the Jew worshiping around the world. Having a new Passion of the Christ. Sets for 2027 release. Split into 2 movies. What are the titles going to be? Infinity War and Endgame? I bet you it's going to be Passion of the Christ Resurrection, Passion of the Christ Ascension. That'll probably what it'll be. Resurrection and Ascension. The Passion of the Christ. So we all have that to look forward to. It was like the first Passion of the Christ was like the biggest movie in the world. That should be interesting. I'm sure the Jews will find some way to kvetch about anti-Semitism. I'm sure the Christians will find some way to kvetch and act like it's somehow anti-Christian or something. The Passion of the Moshiach, the Passion of the Golem. It will do billions, I'm sure, because there's so many Christians around the world. And I'm sure this will be a big resurgence of Jesus believers. I'm sure what that's going to lead to. Right in time for Trump, the Moshiach Trump in the end times. They're apparently using some type of CGI to make the actor here, the QAnon actor, Jim Caviezel, that says Trump is the new Moses and saving the children in the new Moses, Jim Caviezel. They're using AI or CGI to make him look younger, to still play young Jesus. Got to look like a handsome 33-year-old, right? Handsome 33-year-old white guy. You're damn right I love the Jews. All right. Christ is King of the Jews, of the Jews. The Kabbalist Roseanne loves it. Loves her Jewish Jesus.
I love
that.
when Candace goes, Christ is King, and I always finish her sentence for her. Christ is King of the Jews.
Yeah.
Shut
Ooh.
the fuck up.
That's the
what
truest
Ooh.
truth there ever was.
You worship the Jew. That's the truest truth I've ever heard.
The fuck up.
That's the
what they-
truest truth there ever was.
That's right.
That's
He
what they
got
put on him when they
crowned by
killed him.
Rome.
Yeah.
By Rome,
King of the
But-
Jews.
King of the Jews.
What was it? Pontius, right? What was his
Pontius
name?
Pilate.
Pontius Pilate.
That's what he put on.
What? His hat says white colonizer with an with a Star of David. Is that the Jewish way of trying to blame white people for Jewish supremacy and the Torah prophecy agenda? So I'm sure this is a Zionist trying to own the white colonizer. Hey, fellow white colonizers. You believe this? I just noticed that.
Jesus, right? When they
on
killed him.
his head.
Yeah.
But
it's
us, I
fuck
love
that.
when Candace goes, Christ is king, and I always finish her sentence for her. Christ is king of the Jews.
Yeah.
She loves you worshiping those Jews. Roseanne loves all you Christians worshiping the Jewish Messiah. You get it yet? That's a blood libel hat, right? Yeah, he's mocking the pro-Palestine people because he's a brown Jew. Yeah, that makes sense.
Shut the fuck up.
That's the
what they-
truest truth there ever was.
That's right.
That's
He
what they
got
put on him when they
crowned by
killed him.
Rome.
Yeah.
By Rome,
King of the
But-
Jews.
king of the Jews.
What was it? Pontius, right? What was his name?
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate.
That's what he put on Jesus, right? When they
on
killed him.
his head.
Yeah.
But
it's-
us,
That's also what because Christians will say, oh, so he's not actually the king of the Jews. That's just what the Romans said to mock him, to make the Pharisees mad. But then they ignore that when Jesus was born, the Magi showed up, the wise men, and they say, where is he who was born the king of the Jews?
Kabbalists know INRI is a backward amalgam. What do you say when you take the first
I
letter?
think she was thinking of amalgamation, but that's not what it is. He gets it right. It's a palindrome. But INRI is not a palindrome.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking. Hannah is one, right? Same backwards.
When you
as
take-
palindrome.
Palindrome. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
what
it.
it's called? It's a backward palindrome.
He's got 500,000 on YouTube, this guy. Not surprised.
Say,
I
fuck
love
that.
when Candace goes, Christ is king, and I always finish her sentence for her. Christ is king of the Jews.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That's
what
the
they-
You
truth.
worship a Jew. You worship the Jewish Messiah and the Jewish God. Own. And they're always going to hold that over your head. Amalgam is a word too, but it's not. I'm sure it's not what she meant. And it's probably, that's just the root word of amalgamation, right? Material used to fill cavities. That's where I
I'm
heard
not
it
saying-
at the dentist. Here's the longer version. See through it all clipped up for us. Roseanne loves Jesus and Christians still don't get it. She thinks he was a righteous Jew who fought against Rome. That's the kosher Jesus idea. They believe Jesus can be rectified, and they blame Romans and Paul and Gentiles for skewing Christianity and making it bad and anti-Semitic. They blame the Gentiles for that. It's not that they hate Jesus. It's that they like that Jesus Judaized the world.
You were talking about how we feel closer.
Anagram. That's where the letters are mixed up. Maybe that's what she meant. I've heard Kabbalists, as she said, claim that Esau is Yeshu is a anagram for Esau. If you flip a letter or something like that, I've heard a few rabbis say that.
To Muslims as Jews, but I assume you were going to say, in actuality, we're probably closer to Christians. Is that what you were going to say?
So I
'Cause I feel
recently, that's where I was going. Like I
I
recently
agree.
had the opportunity. I went on sort of like a Christian rabbit hole when I was in Israel during the war.
Yeah.
And one thing I did, which really bound me closer to Christians, was during the peak of the war when rockets were being fired towards the north,
He's bound to Christians.
I took a donkey. Me and another Jewish friend of mine. We took 3 donkeys and we walked in the path of Jesus from Nazareth
I
to
did
the
that
Sea of
too.
Galilee for 5 days in the nature.
I did that
Wow.
too.
We slept out. We camped. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
We got to meet like travelers on the road. We got to interact with people along the way. And I put together a video on my YouTube channel where I was basically showing
They both did the walking in the footsteps of Jesus outback tours, desert tours.
Christians how very much Jewish the origins of Christianity was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How Jesus would have very much so like me. He would have bathed in the mikveh in this random spring. He would have put on tefillin every morning like a good Jewish boy.
He was,
because he was a
rabbinical
rabbi.
student. Yeah.
And as growing up as a Jew, especially in America, you sometimes don't have like this good image of Christians because of all the trauma.
Yeah.
And you kind of disconnect from Jesus completely. And I'm not saying I take Jesus as religiously. I don't believe in him like as a Messiah for me. I don't pray to him. I don't pray with that. But I believe he exists, or I believe he existed. And I really have come to appreciate his story and how much he's connected people to Judaism and to Israel.
There it is again. How much he's connected the Jews to Judaism and Israel. There it is. Once again, there it is.
Religiously, I don't believe in him like as a Messiah for me.
But
I don't pray to him, I don't
he's happy that you believe in him.
pray that, but I believe he exists, or I believe he existed. And
And this is why there's no big Jews out there saying that Jesus didn't exist, because they don't want to believe in him. They don't want to drink the Kool-Aid, but they like the Judaizing effect it had on the Gentiles. And that's all of Israel's greatest supporters are Christians.
really have come to appreciate his story and how much he's connected people to Judaism and to Israel. And it's not always been in the best circumstances. And there is some stuff in the New Testament that's very discriminatory against Jews. And that's a problem.
But that can be lost in translation. I always
translation, right?
I said it a few weeks ago. Jesus was the Elvis of Jews. I think he's the greatest Jew of all time, in my opinion. I love Jesus. I love what he calls.
Oh, nothing they hate more. Nothing they hate more. Oh, they recoil at the name of Jesus. We got the Jewish Roseanne, Rabbi Roseanne's son, Kabbalist, Rabbi Roseanne's son. Good job, see through it all. Add it to the sound bites. The other rabbi says he's the greatest salesman of all time. Now he's the Elvis. And Ari Shafir, the comedian, he says, who's the most successful Jew of all time? He said Jesus. They know what's going on. They can see it.
I always transition. Right? I said it a few weeks ago. Jesus was the Elvis of Jews. I think he's the greatest Jew of all time, in my opinion. I love Jesus. I love what he taught, from my understanding.
Well, the Baba Sali was pretty awesome too.
What's the Baba Sali? I don't know.
There's ancient rabbi. There's so many. There's Isaac Luria, who's a Kabbalist from Tzfat.
yes.
He's amazing.
She knows all about him.
Well, of course.
Okay, well,
she knows all about Luriana Kabbalah, I'm sure. Acronym is abbreviation of a sentence with the first letter of each word. You guys, they meant palindrome, I think. At least what she described.
We'll
he's
talk
the
about
Beatles.
that another
There's
time.
four.
He was great.
He's Paul.
He was great.
No, I love Jesus, and I do feel closer to Christians than Muslims, 100%.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time, and I think that's probably.
But they're also close to Muslims too. It's the race is close. And some of their top rabbis talk about how Islam, they can pray in a mosque because there's no graven images and they believe in the oneness of God of Abraham. Muslims took upon the role of Ishmael. They circumcise. They have kosher slaughter rituals. They believe in Jesus as a messianic figure that's going to return and defeat an antichrist. So both are kosher. Don't get it twisted. Adam King says he wants the Catholic Church destroyed over Islam. It could go either way. It's a toss-up with these Jews. You never know. He says he likes Christianity more.
Especially as an
You know
American,
what?
that's
I
more
like
normal.
decent fucking people. No matter what they believe
Of
in their
course.
mind and their heart, it's what they do that counts. To me.
But we have a duty.
But she also says if you oppose Yahweh, you hate Jews, you hate God, you're Amalek, and you'll be destroyed in the last video. She equates worshiping the God that chose her with being a good person, just as all the Christians do.
We have a duty to really connect Christians back to Judaism.
I agree.
I believe that.
Not to
too.
being Jews. I don't need you to be a Jew.
No.
If you believe in Christ as your savior,
Cool, bro.
Baruch Hashem, enjoy yourself. Like
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But when I went to Jerusalem recently, I connected with this Messianic church.
Yeah.
I was trying to uncover the Christians of the old city. And there are Messianic Jews who have their own, they have like a synagogue.
How can all these anti-Semitic and racist Christians online see this and see all the rabbi clips and still think, yeah, Jesus, there's nothing they hate more. We're going to defeat the Jews by worshiping the Jewish Messiah. I'm sorry, you're not JQ, you're not Red Pill, you're not based, you're not awake if you believe the Bible and worship the God of the Jews. I'm sorry, you're not. You're deep in the delusion. You've fallen deep in the rabbi hole trap.
Church in the old city, and they were teaching me about the origins of Christianity. Something that I never connected in my brain is, first of all, like all the early adopters of Christianity were Jews, because
Yeah,
it wasn't a religion. It was just Judaism with a belief in a new Messiah.
Yeah.
So much so that there was archaeological evidence found in Italy of churches, the first churches that had an entrance for Jews and an entrance for Gentiles, which is crazy because it means that really the earliest adopters of this religion
We're Jews.
were Jewish people.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
And so
And they were Jewish supremacists that had to have their own door. There were supposedly fights in the early church, if we believe the account in the New Testament, that Peter refused to eat with Gentiles Jesus, before the crucifixion and the resurrection, said that the Gentiles don't get the blessings, but they could have the scraps at the table like dogs.
We're always bound to this belief that Muslims are somehow closer to us because they don't use human iconography. They don't put Jesus on a cross in their
No
mosques
idolatry.
and stuff. But in reality, just Christianity in the West has really lost. I think it's kind of gone very far from Israel and its core of Judaism.
Well, it depends. Because
Depends
there are
where,
Christians that
depends
are
what-
more Jewish than
Yeah,
not.
like evangelicals, I think do a really good job at starting to connect back to Israel.
He just said some Christians are more Jewish than him.
Evangelicals, I think, do a really good job at starting to connect back to Israel.
Yeah, that's a good thing that
Judaism.
Well, it depends. Because
Depends
there are
where,
Christians
depends
that are
what-
more Jewish than
Yeah,
not.
like evangelicals, I think, do a really good job at starting to connect back to Israel.
yeah, that's a good thing that they do that.
Yeah.
No, I love
But
Christians.
Tor says they'll all
Yeah, it's got to be humiliating to be an anti-Semitic Christian that holds up Jesus on a pedestal, that he's the biggest Jew namer in the world. That's what I'll hear these idiot Christians say. And then when you see what the Jews actually say about Jesus, it's this stuff. That's got to hurt. It's got to cause some cognitive dissonance, right? Power chats are coming on. Sorry, I forgot. Let's get these going. Links in the description below in the live chat, pinned to the top of the live chat. Let's get these going. Sorry about that.
come back to source when Mashiach comes.
Yeah.
Because my rabbi
There it is.
Optics Prime sent $5
Thanks,
on
buddy.
Rumble. No slouching today, brethren. We are on a mission from God.
No slouching. Head up. Thank you, Parisia.
Parisia Time sent $5 on Rumble. Good day, guys. Just your daily reminder that you must send in shekels or you have a circumcised heart whiner and are a spiritual Jew. Sorry, it's just the rules. I don't make them.
Yep. Very true. I didn't make the rules.
Zorn Deridum sent $10. You're on fire this week, Adam. Loving the righteous geese skeech. Heil.
Thank you, but isn't it about the same every week?
Habs
I always on fire?
93 sent $50
Yo,
giving my
50.
shekels in.
Thank
I missed
you.
your shows last week, was on vacation. Fuck the Masiak.
Fuck the Moshiach, right. I hope you had a good vacation. Appreciate you so
Beowulf
much.
914 sent $20 on Rumble. Keep it up, Adam.
Can't stop, won't stop. Rambo enjoyer.
$10. You're right. I love the Jews. God Stone Cold said so.
Stone Cold loves the Jews. That's right. He actually said, why do they have so much
$5
power?
INRI is an acronym. It
That's what she
represents
meant.
the Latin phrase Iesus Nazarenus, Rex
Yeah.
Ioiorum, which translates to Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews.
It is an acronym, but that's not what how she was describing it. Good point. Yes, it means the King of the Jews. Where is it? And we know how
You
we feel
damn
about
right
them
I love the
Jews.
Jews. You damn right I love the Jews. Absolutely. 100%. Because I'm a Christian. Jesus.
There we go. Let's hear Tor says. Torah, probably. She says, when Moshiach comes, all the goy are going to get in line.
But Tor says they'll all come back to source when Mashiach comes.
Yeah.
Because my rabbi says that
And all these Christians are
Parish
waiting for
sent
Moshiach.
$50.
Imagine
You are a
that.
massive human and an
Yo!
even bigger threat to the Abrahamic matrix. I wish I could watch live, but it never loads. The internet overlords don't like you here in the United Kingdom because your message is undeniable.
That's not good. Thank you so much for the big dono, but have you tried Odyssey, Rumble, Twitter, anywhere? None of them. If none of them work, I'd say it's probably your internet. That might be a problem on your end. You guys are amazing. Thank you for these big donos.
They're nice.
Making me feel so special.
Yeah, baby.
Making me feel like it's not all in vain.
both of those religions were started by disaffected Jewish guys
Pretty much.
They
Yeah.
were. No, but every religion is kind of a spin-off if you think about it. It's a
of
spin-off.
Judaism.
Well, they're disaffected from whatever religion they come from.
They all come
Lutheran,
from
Protestant
They're all spin-offs from Judaism. She says it again.
is from Catholic.
Everything. Religions were started by disaffected Jewish guys
Dude.
Pretty much.
They
Yeah.
were. No, but every religion is kind of a spin-off if you think about it. It's a
of
spin-off.
Judaism.
Well, they're disaffected from whatever religion they come from.
They all come
Lutheran,
from
Protestant
Judaism.
is from Catholic.
Everything comes from Judaism.
I can even tell you from a personal perspective.
Everything comes from the Jews. And good luck coping about this one. Good luck convincing all of the masses of churches that Christianity didn't come from Judaism. What evidence are you going to show? This fake church father meme I see on the internet all the time that all these Christians love to share around. Can't even do a little due diligence to find out it's a well-known fake quote. The one that says like Christianity or Judaism is a perversion of Christianity. That one that's completely made up and fake. You think you're going to win over the churches with all of your copes and your lies? Nope. Not going to happen.
Forget about it.
Like, I kind of have I don't want to say a problem with rabbinical Judaism, but
I have a problem with it.
I do.
So we probably vibe on this wavelength.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time with the organized Jewish religion we have today.
Yeah, in America especially.
In America specifically. And the further I get away from it, I've sort of been building Judaism back for myself.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Like, I want my connection with Hashem to be my connection with
That's
Hashem.
right.
And not somebody telling me how it should be and what rules in this. I believe in the rules that we should have in the religion, but I don't want somebody to tell me exactly how I need to
He's
pray.
like Jesus.
So from a certain perspective, I kind of started understanding where Jesus was coming from.
No, he's badass.
But
Jesus is badass, says the Jewish guy. What's funny is none of the Christians online will look at what the Jews actually say about Jesus like this. They'll write that off. They'll go, oh, he's coping. He's just trying to suck it. Well, whatever cope they'll come up with. But then when we say, no, Jesus is fake and the Messiah, it's all about conquering the Golem, you go, no, you're a Jew. You're a Jew trying to keep me from heaven. There's nothing they hate more. And then just this. Every day, this.
and what rules in this. I believe in the rules that we should have in the religion, but I don't want somebody to tell me exactly how I need to
He's
pray.
like Jesus.
So from a certain perspective, I kind of started understanding where Jesus was coming from.
No, he's badass.
But again, I don't believe in him as a religious
But
figure.
you don't have to believe him as the Messiah to realize he was badass and a rebel and taking on the Pharisees, and everything he said was completely true. Even as a Jew, you have to give him his props that he stood up to corruption within the temple. And that was, in my opinion, that was cool. It was rock and roll.
Did you know that was a currency war?
What, the war with Jesus in the temple?
Yeah, where he overturned the tables.
No, I didn't know that.
I know everything about it, and I've been teaching it for.
Everything about it besides the fact that it's a made-up story from prophecy and pure mythology. But she knows everything about it. Let's hear the kooky Roseanne theory on Jesus and the cleansing of the temple.
It was cool. It was rock and roll.
Did you know that was a currency war?
What, the war
Jews
with
for
Jesus in the
Jesus.
temple?
Yeah, where he overturned the tables.
No, I didn't know that.
I know everything about it, and I've been teaching it for a really long time. But it's horrifying at the brainwashing people are under, and they don't want to hear anything new.
Well, tell us. It wasn't that he was upset that they were selling trinkets in the temple? Because that's what
He was pissed off that they were foisting Roman currency on the Jews. He was a warrior for Jews against Roman occupation.
Yes, Jesus the warrior against the Romans. Jewish Jesus fighting against Edom. How about that? I love this. Great job, Roseanne. Roseanne's really sticking into these Christians right now with her Jewish Jesus like she did here at the Reawaken America tour. Shmuley Boteach, by the way, says the exact same thing in his book, Kosher Jesus. Jesus was a rebel against the Romans. In Shmuley's book, Kosher Jesus, a whole book that I've read that none of these idiot Christians have read, how Jews actually view Jesus.
And the joy we feel in serving our God is our weapon that Satan can do nothing about. He cannot touch our joy. The Torah says those who run in joy to serve God are the weapon against evil. We run in joy to serve the love and the intelligence of God. And for those of you who are Christians, please sign up for my podcast where I am beginning to talk about the Jewish Jesus. That's what...
Hear that round of applause for the Jewish Jesus?
That's what...
You think your copes about Jesus not being Jewish, your bullshit arguments and denial and copes that Jesus is not Jewish, you think that's going to take over the churches? No. Come to terms with it, guys. You worship a Jew.
Like we would be.
Yeah.
Anything new.
Well, tell us. It wasn't that he was upset that they were selling trinkets in the
Look, how many
temple?
views does this have? 51 likes on my retweet of this. The Christians don't want to know. They want to put their fingers in their ears and sing la 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 and shove their heads up their asses and be in denial about Christianity, how subversive and fake and foreign it is, and how Jews love that you follow it. Do you not get that? They love that you believe in their Bible and their God, and believe in their prophecies. Case closed. Again, another clip where it's just case closed. Christians don't care. They're immune to the facts. They're immune to reality.
Because that's what
He
I've
was
been taught.
pissed off that they were foisting Roman currency on the Jews. He was a warrior for Jews against Roman occupation, like we would be.
Yeah, she's making that up, by the way, though. It wasn't about Roman coins in the temple, whatever cope that is that she's coming up with. But, and it's a fictional story to begin with, but even if it were real, it's what? A Jew mad that Jews aren't Jewing right in the Jewish temple? That's the big W? Because they were lending money for animal sacrifices? The animal sacrifices, by the way, that Jesus, who is God, commanded to begin with?
It's like, that fucking Roman coins out of here. Why are you doing that? Don't you see it's to take over our temple?
I'd never
And
heard
why
that.
are you even selling coins in here? They already got you.
I've never heard that, but
Same.
The theory I heard was that people come to the temple. They travel from everywhere to come to the temple, Jews, to sacrifice animals, but they don't bring all the animals with them on their journeys. So when they get there, they have to exchange with the money changers. It's not money lenders. We're not talking about usury here. Yeah, you don't sell coins. Jews would go there and they would trade. They would buy animals to sacrifice. So I don't see what Jesus's problem with that would have been. He didn't specify. It's not specified in the Bible what his actual issue was. He says, "You make my house a den of thieves," and some other prophecies are fulfilled about it that they got it from.
That seems very plausible.
It's a whole bunch of stuff you don't even know.
Well,
And
let's
it
do it
is
here.
about,
Do it here.
well, he was a student of Rabbi Akiva. He had 24,000 students, and most of them got fed to the lions. That's who they.
Dominic sent $10 Roman coins for the Goishiak.
Yeah. Roman coins. No shekels, only Roman coins and runes.
Being the lions.
Yeah.
Rabbinical students. And, you know, Rabbi Akiva picked 3 students to lead the revolution against Rome. It was Rabbi Shimon Bar Chochma, and he was a military genius. And that story is unbelievable. That ended at Masada.
I actually have something here that I want to show you.
Oh my God,
Please
I want you to show
in
me. I'll
relation
just tell
to
these
it.
3
Okay,
things.
go for it. Yeah,
And the other one was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the greatest Jew ever. And the other one was, you know,
They claim that's who wrote the Zohar in the cave.
his name, you know, they say Jesus, which means the Zeus in Roman.
I never heard that. Joshua?
And
Yeshua.
Joshua.
Yeah, it
was-
means Joshua, Yeshua. The Zeus. We need a fact check on that one. You know who would know that one is Gnostic informant. Is Joshua related to Zeus in any way?
Yahoshua. And but some say it's another name, and I believe it's another name. I believe his name was Yehuda. And
Jew?
Jonetic Freak sent $5 on Rumble. Love your reactions to big power chats. Nick Fuentes rakes in thousands every night and acts like an ungrateful.
Yeah, they pay for that abuse. True.
him and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai were best of friends. And anyway, cut to what was it about? It was about saving the teachings of Rabbi Akiva and Hillel from Roman destruction because they threw out most of, they rewrote it.
Yeah, in the Council of Nicaea.
Yes. So that's what it's about.
You were talking about how
this
we
is what
feel
they do.
closer to Muslims.
Oh, is that the
as
end?
Jews.
Because they threw out most of.
See, here's the cope. It was the Romans, Council of Nicaea. They corrupted the Bible. Jesus was good. It's only the Gentiles and the Romans' fault that corrupted it. That's how they view Christianity. And it's not even true. A lot of the books in the canon were already being tampered with long before Council of Nicaea, but they were also sort of basically canonized before the Council of Nicaea. Although we don't really have any copies of that until around that time, 3rd century, with the Codex Vaticanus and Sinaiticus. Okay, do we have another one of these? Oh yeah, Rabbi Merchant, Rabbi Jonathan Kahn.
All the first Christians were Jewish. You know, it's a Jewish faith for everybody. So many accept.
Just like Alex Jones, it's Judaism for everybody. It's the Jewish faith for all the Goa. Get grafted into the Jewish faith.
All the first Christians were Jewish. You know, it's a Jewish faith for everybody. So many accepted.
Jesus was Jewish.
Jesus is Jewish. He's my Jewish savior. He's my He's your Jewish.
Tofzu sent $25, Adam. Thanks
you.
for all you do. I was never really religious, but called myself a Christian. I always knew there was something funky about Christianity, but you and your network of like-minded people confirmed my suspicions of Abrahamism.
That's what's happening. Have I not been saying that? Everybody's already kind of felt this way about Christianity. Something's not quite right with it, right? A lot of people, all the non-Christians of the world, basically that's how they view Christianity. If they thought it was all kosher and good, they'd be Christians. So yes, very good to hear that. I love hearing that. And again, it's not just me. People wouldn't just listen to me. It's everybody else is getting it. Here's a little bit on the cope from Roseanne and the temple, by the way.
The cleansing of the temple is often seen as a mythological. The cleansing of the temple is often seen as a mythological story due to its connections to two key prophecies and its narrative structure. First, it references Jeremiah 7:11, where the temple is called a den of robbers, symbolizing corruption. Second, Psalm 69:9, "Zeal for your house will consume me," is quoted in John 2:17, emphasizing Jesus' fervor. The intercalation technique, where the fig tree story frames the temple cleansing in Mark and Matthew, adds a symbolic layer, showing judgment on unfruitful practices. These elements suggest the story carries theological significance rather than being a straightforward historical event.
Yeah, in Paul, in his letter to the Romans, was there any mention about Jesus cleansing the temple? No. In any of the letters? Is there a cleansing of the temple or any biographical detail of Jesus anywhere before the Gospels? No. Big red flag. She said Jeremiah 11 has this house which bears my name become a den of robbers to you, but I have been watching. The story of Jesus cleansing the temple, like all of the things we supposedly know about Jesus, were found in scriptures like this. What was the other thing she said?
Symbolizing corruption. Second, Psalm 69:9, "Zeal for your house will consume me," is quoted in John 2:17.
Psalm 69, also another heavily quote-mined chapter. This is where they get those who hate me without reason, like they hated Jesus for no reason, right? It says, I am a foreigner to my own family, stranger to my own mother's children. The Jews did not recognize him. For zeal for your house consumes me, and the insults of those who insult you fall on me. This is also the one where it says, endures scorn. Your servant. The servant is identified as the Messiah, so this is what would, the servant being in here is what makes probably roped in this chapter for them to think, oh, this is secretly about Jesus. Does this look familiar now, Christians? They put gall in my food and gave me vinegar for my thirst, like supposedly happened with Jesus on the cross. These are not prophecies fulfilled. The whole story of Jesus comes from a myth fabricated from scriptures like this, read esoterically. Peshers made from midrashic genre. May the table set before them become a snare. May it become a retribution and a trap. Just like this is cited in the New Testament that it was a trap for the Jews to not fall for it, but it also means that's a trap for the Gentiles to fall in. So a lot of messianic verses there.
Emphasizing Jesus' fervor, historical event, highlighting its mythological nature. The cleansing of the temple is
This is one I want to play a lot because the Christians love to share this like he's some anti-Jewish warrior or something. And this is the best they have. The best they have to claim Jesus is some anti-Semitic folk hero is Synagogue of Satan and
Optics
this.
Prime sent $5 on Rumble. Evidence from Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan home shows him with Pope John Paul II. The photo was taken in 2003 after Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell flew to Rome for a private audience with the Pope.
I got some stuff. Milo, I'll cover it later. Milo was on with Candace Owens, and they were talking about, he said he talks to somebody at Mossad and that they have blackmail on all of the top Catholic leadership.
Cleansing is
5 reasons the cleansing of the temple never happened in 1 minute.
Here are 5 reasons some argue the cleansing of the temple might be more myth than history. 1. Literary structure. The intercalation or sandwiching technique used in Mark, where the temple cleansing is framed by the fig tree story, suggests a symbolic rather than historical narrative. 2. Theological motifs. The story aligns with prophetic themes from Jeremiah and Psalms, emphasizing spiritual reform, which could indicate it was crafted to fulfill scriptural prophecies rather than report an event. 3. Absence in early Christian writings. The story is not mentioned in earlier sources like Paul's letters, suggesting it may have been a later theological development. 4. Symbolic timing. The event occurs during Passover, a highly symbolic time, emphasizing themes of liberation and judgment, which may indicate a constructed narrative. 5. Logistical improbability. The idea of Jesus single-handedly disrupting temple activities without immediate intervention is seen as logistically unlikely, suggesting a more symbolic rather than literal interpretation.
Because the temple area was so big. Also, if this really happened, it's not written about in the Talmud. The Jews never mentioned the fake Messiah coming and doing this and flipping their tables in the temple. No mention of that anywhere. Right? Isn't that a little weird? Oh, and this is not a condemnation on usury either, or whatever stupid shit Roseanne said about Roman coins. It doesn't say anything about Roman coins.
Sentiments within Judaism. The New Testament doesn't explicitly condemn usury or money lending broadly, but critiques the temple's commercial practices. We also touched on anti-temple sentiments within Judaism, particularly among groups like the Essenes, who viewed the temple establishment as corrupt and colluding with Rome.
Exactly. There was also Jewish anti-temple sentiment in the Essenes, in the Ebionites. Anti-temple sacrifice, they thought it was corrupted by Rome. They thought the temple needed to be destroyed and rebuilt. Different things. They're still Jews. It's like, who else would get mad about what's going on in the Jewish temple than a Jew? But these copers want to say, no, he's not Jewish, but he was mad that the Jews were doing bad things in his temple, in his Jewish temple.
This adds a nuanced layer to understanding the diverse perspectives within ancient Judaism. New Testament
are we really
doesn't
supposed to
explicitly
expect that Jesus flipped the money to the tables at the temple? He was crucified and the whole earth went dark for 3 hours. That he was the temple curtain ripped when Jesus died. The dead rose from their graves and walked around Jerusalem when Jesus was crucified. And none of the Jews had anything to say about this. No secular historian said anything about any of this. No Roman historian said anything about any of this happening. None of the Jews wrote this down, even as a polemic to debunk it or whatever, or to call it black magic. What does See Through It All say here? You're charging your fellow Jews too much money for animal sacrifice. You're only supposed to do that for Gentiles. Yeah.
All the first Christians were Jewish. It's a Jewish faith for everybody. So many accepted.
Jesus was Jewish.
Jesus is Jewish. He's my Jewish Savior. He's my Rebbe. He's your Jewish. He makes us Jewish. He makes you Jewish. He makes us. We become spiritually Jewish. That's how Jewish he is. He makes us kosher.
But if all the evidence is there.
Yeah, it is prophesied they won't accept him until the end. Once the nation, many will, but then.
See, the Jews aren't supposed to believe in Jesus till the end. Once the fullness of the Gentiles come in, and they Judaized the world and conquered the paganism, and then turned all the Christians kosher, and then the Jews will say, hey, he's not so bad. He could be rectified. He's actually kosher. The return of the kosher pig, where is it? The Return of the Kosher Pig, written by Yitzhak Shapira. Jesus is the kosher pig. It's going to return after he served his role of conquering the nations.
Once the nation says, Baruch haba, blessed are you, then he comes. And so when they come, then there's no more, the nations are finished. There's no more salvation, the time is over. So that's one, so they were the first, and the first shall be last. But one of the signs of him coming again is many Jewish people are coming to the Lord now, which wasn't the case before. And also, not only are Jewish people coming to their Messiah, but...
What does the New Testament say? What does Paul say? That the Christians are supposed to make the Jews envious. They're supposed to bow down to the Jewish Messiah so hard. Grab cheeks for Yeshua so hard that it makes the Jews jealous and envious.
The church is coming to its Jewishness. You never heard Yeshua say his real name said. You didn't have shofars in church.
Yeah.
You didn't have a love for Israel.
But you do
for 2,000 years, it's like never been. So it's happening. It's coming.
And you're not any less Jewish when you accept Jesus as your Messiah. But that's
I'm more Jewish.
They think that you're going to lose your identity.
Because to them it's like you're a traitor. You're going with the other side that persecuted us. No. This is for a Jewish person it's a big challenge. I never listen. I didn't try to force it. I never felt so Jewish as when I found Jesus. I'm like, wow, there's a reason for it.
So Jewish. Nothing more Jewish than believing in the Jewish Messiah. Where's that other clip? We should probably go there now. This one.
Have compassion for Iran, who's...
Small hat detected. What's this, a Christian with an IDF soldier on?
For Iran. Have compassion for Iran, whose entire essence from morning to night is totally committed to murdering Jews that they never even have any connection to. Right. Compassion for the nations of the world and understand that they want blessing. They want godliness and light. And why are they not getting it? Because we're not stepping up and rising to the occasion. Because we're not going to the Temple Mount and building that temple for them.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. It's
the Jews aren't building their temple for them and their Moshiach. They're doing it for us. The Israel Guys podcast, is that what this is?
Foundation. And I think the reason I tell you this, the reason I drive up here hours all the time is because this is the only platform where we can really talk about the very deepest root of what the secondary root some people talk about. Since October 7th, a lot of people are like, we cut the head of this off the snake. Go to Iran, they're the core of everything. But are they really? Are they really? On a certain dimension, yes, but on the deeper dimension, it's the Temple Mount. It's building the temple on the Temple Mount and bringing God's presence into the world.
At the deeper level, that's what it's all about. And that's why I get so angry when I see these anti-Zionists online, like, oh, the secular Jews, you're fake Jews, you don't believe the Torah. As if that's the problem with what's going on here. That it's a bunch of atheist fake Jews that don't believe the Torah. And it's not Yahweh's chosen people, it's their secret devil worshipers. Completely missing the mark. Completely getting it wrong. When I hear that shit, I just say...
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
If that makes me sound like a religious extremist, fine. Fine. And then
Yeah, you're a religious extremist. A temple cultist.
I am, but it's a religious extremism that is born from a place of love for humanity, of understanding that that's what's going to end all of this bloodshed and hatred and jealousy. It's only going to be when we bring God into the world. And that's what we're here for.
Only when they fulfill their plans and their temple and their Moshiach and rule the world and defeat all their enemies and have Gog and Magog war, only then will the world be a Jewish utopia.
Jealousy. It's only going to be when we bring God into the world. And that's what we're here for, I think.
We're here to save you, Goy. Amazing. Amazing. This is amazing. Protestia, some Christian news site, says it's better to marry a former OnlyFans model who has come to know the depths of her sin and the mercy of the Lord than an unkissed virgin with a haughty look and a proud heart. So haughty means like pretty, right? Worst thing I've ever heard. Jealousy. Have you guys ever heard something more ridiculous? You can have an OnlyFans girl that has been ran through by thousands of guys, but she just says, she has faith in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. They drip a couple drops of holy water on her. She drinks some grape juice, and all of a sudden, she is a born-again virgin, and she is a better wife. She's a better wife material than a virgin, a beautiful virgin that has some pride. God, talk about the worst advice. 1.6 thousand likes. Amazing. She got on the Jesus train. That's funny. Haughty means prideful. Haughty, arrogant, superior, and disdainful. Haughty look. Disdainful look and a proud heart. So a virgin that's just like proud of herself is not a better wife than a former OnlyFans girl just because she believes in a Jewish blood magic ritual. This is what we're doing now? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
You caught me. I like to break a mental sweat too.
Can you believe? I cannot believe I just saw that. I'm sorry, did you just say, I'm sorry, what did you just say? Gentile News Network. Yeah, talk about the worst take of all time. And this is like a widespread thing. This will also apply, a Christian will say, who would be a better business partner or a better neighbor or a better friend? Some mass murderer, child abuser that has sincerely come to the mercy of the Lord and has the forgiveness of Jesus and believes in the magic of the blood? Or some prideful pagan that has never harmed a fly? Who would you rather have babysit your kids? Jesus purifying the whores. That's funny. Who's this guy in the chat trying to say it's white people? Truth Pav? Is Truth Pav spurging you guys? She got on the Jesus train. No, she's a born-again virgin. Can't believe I saw that. Here's a born-again, not gay anymore, Milo, admitting that he met with Mossad and parrots their anti-Catholic propaganda to Candace Owens, only to be met with zero pushback. I'm sorry, but priest raping kids is not anti-Catholic propaganda. They were doing it. It was widespread. There's been the lawsuits. There's been the whistleblowers. There's been the victims. And the church was covering it up. The most sinister part, it was covering up. These Christians want to say, that's just anti-Catholic propaganda. Sounds like Jews saying, that's just anti-Semitic propaganda when you say something true about them. It's confirmed. It's known. And he's Christian, by the way. He's wearing a cross. It's not like he's trying to do... He's a Catholic, I'm pretty sure. He's like, oh, they're just not real Catholics because they're blackmailed by Mossad. We need to take back the church with real traditional, not pedophile rapist Catholics.
I like how you call it the Mossad, which is correct. The Mossad. The Mossad. No, they know. I like how you call it the Mossad, which is correct. The Mossad. The Mossad. No, they know how many American Catholic bishops are homosexuals. To the man, because I met somebody who works in Israeli intelligence who told me, oh yeah, it's 88%. I said, what? 88% of American Catholic bishops. And I said, what do you mean 88%? I said, oh well, we checked. I was like, what do you mean you checked? For them not to know what's happening on their own border is ludicrous. Again, it is unbelievable. I like how you.
I'm a little skeptical that that's true, that story is true, or that it's the Mossad guy is telling the truth. But does anybody doubt that there's definitely some blackmail of some Catholic and Christian leaders in this country and around the world? Could that explain how they've got it to become so kosher? Could that have a little something to do with it? See through it all, you didn't watch this? Groypers were kvetching? Of course they are. They're going to kvetch no matter what he does. I mean, he's got a massive cross on and is a Catholic. He was raped by his Catholic priest, by the way. I think when he was like 14 years old. Remember, he said it on Joe Rogan and got canceled for it. It's don't ask, don't tell policy in the Christian world. When you fight with Israel, you fight against God. Is this Mossad, former Hamas son, Mossad agent? Fighting against the Jews is fighting against God. God is on their side. God wins.
Israel is God. You fight with Israel, you are fighting with the most powerful authority of the universe.
Is he Muslim?
Do I need to say it clearer? If you don't accept it, you are in the face of a certain destruction. God said, take earth, go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You'll be responsible for your actions. But this small part of the land belongs.
Dude, Truth Pav, you're retarded. Why do all movies push atheism? What movie pushes atheism? What are you even talking about? You think Hollywood movies are about promoting atheism? No, it's Christianity's promoted. Why does History Channel promote Jesus existed? Why is the Bible the most printed book ever? Why is there a church on every corner? Why are there Jesus? Why can you turn on your smart TV and find endless content about Jesus? How come there's millions of YouTube channels and preachers online that never get censored or got boosted by the algorithm? How come you go to the checkout stand of the grocery store and there's Jesus magazines? How come Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager and Netanyahu and Roseanne all promote Jesus? Truth Pav? You got an answer to that? Because I'm tired of hearing these copes, these delusional lies.
To me. Go wherever you want, do whatever you want. You'll be responsible for your actions. But this small part of the land belongs.
Sorry, maybe church B-rate, B movies, C movies, but with Christian messages aren't popular to a bunch of people that aren't Christian. Maybe they like sex, drugs, and violence and horror. Not everybody wants to just read the Jewish Bible all day. It's not some conspiracy to destroy Christianity. If the Jews have all the power you think they have and they want to destroy Christianity, how do you square that the Christians are their greatest allies and they promote it everywhere and it's not destroyed?
To me, and the earth is vast, and it's all the same. But here, this is mine. And they choose to come for this small piece of land. Everywhere else is not enough. They have hundreds of countries. And they have the same potential. And I don't understand why they're insisting to come after Israel, to spread their hatred. It's insanity.
Yeah, why is Passion of the Christ on Netflix? Where are all the big Jew documentaries exposing that
Donald
Jesus
Trump
is a myth
said
and never
$5
existed?
Why does the grocery store sell tomatoes? 'Cause ninjas need tomatoes.
Good point, Donald Trump. Tomatoes. I like the way it said tomatoes. Christians have a persecution complex, by the way, and a martyrdom complex. You want to be hated by the world, you get off on it. And you interpret anything that's not Christian as an attack on Christianity. Ben Shapiro says he wants to start annexing 1 square mile per day so Hamas surrenders the rest of the Gaza Strip.
There's now a discussion between the Israeli government. There's now a discussion between the Israeli government and the American government. They're going to try and push for a comprehensive deal. Hamas does not want to make a deal, obviously. So basically, Israel and the United States may say that there will be no more piecemeal deals. Everybody comes out alive. Hamas goes into exile, or Israel goes to the end. Okay, which, by the way, should have been the situation in the first place. They should set up humanitarian enclaves in Rafah and a couple other places around the Gaza Strip. They should make sure that the aid to those places is plentiful. They should use face recognition technology to try and prevent people associated with Hamas from getting into those enclaves. This would be basic counterinsurgency strategy. And then they should essentially clean up the rest of the Gaza Strip. They should give people a particular period of time to get to those humanitarian aid areas that are protected by the IDF and other people on the ground, in which aid is controlled, not by the United Nations, which is, again, an awful, evil organization, but instead is controlled by...
They hate the United Nations so much. They want to destroy it and rule the world from Jerusalem. The Supreme Court of mankind, like Ben-Gurion said.
Organization that does not wish to hand the aid to Hamas. And then after giving people enough time to get to the enclaves, Israel should essentially start annexing 1 mile per day, 1 square mile per day for every day that Hamas does not surrender.
Little by little, huh? Like the prophecy says, little by little. They're taking the whole thing. Netanyahu already announced they're taking the whole thing. All the Ian Carroll bullshitters that got 50,000 likes when Trump announced he was taking Gaza for a freedom zone. They're like, look, Netanyahu's blindsided. Look at his body language. Trump's taking over, man. The Jews are so pissed. It's a coup on Netanyahu, right, Ian Carroll? Looks like Trump's letting Israel take all of Gaza now. So much for your bullshit analysis.
Because there's nothing else that Hamas understands at this point.
Catholicism killed so many more white people throughout history than Jews. Not even close. Catholicism killed so many more white people than Jews ever in history. Not even close.
If Israel would like to get back its hostages, that is the only way of doing this.
Real big, tough game you talk there, Ben Shapiro. This is interesting. Rabbi Shmuley wearing a clown suit on Senator Cory Booker. Senator Cory Booker is a huge Zionist. Here he is 30 years ago. They went to Oxford together. I think Oxford is where Shmuley was like an ambassador for Chabad Lubavitch, appointed by the Rebbe. It's funny how this Shabbos Goy here, the golem that he rides around, incredible. Funny how you make close friends at Oxford with Shmuley Boteach and you become a career senator. Funny how that works out. Cory Booker's gay, right?
Great Odin's Raven!
This is what Christians like to fantasize that I'm doing in my free time.
Jesus Christ! Oh, Jesus Christ, you're such a little bitch.
Cory Booker's a Christian, right? That's interesting. I've never seen that before. Candace is trending. What is Candace trending for? Hold on, let's look at this real quick. I always got to take it off the screen in case there's... First one is calling Candace a Russian agent. Let's read this one. You're right, Candace. You're definitely not a Russian asset married to a British lord's son worth roughly $200 million. She retweeted by the Russian embassy, attacking Macron, who's an enemy of Putin. Absolutely appalling the way Russians are being treated in America and abroad. That's our leaders and government institutions are allowing for, and at times calling for this discrimination following their global Black Lives Matter hysteria is quite telling. Russian lives matter. That's super sus. George Farmer's net worth is 180 and 240 million, according to various sources. His wealth primarily stems from his... Okay. That's a lot of money. He had all the money in the world and he married Candace Owens. And George Farmer, this lord's son, Duke, is he a Duke? He apparently knew Candace Owens on like Skype for a couple weeks before they decided to get married. How weird is that? Yeah, what is she even talking about? How are Russians treated in America? Nick Fuentes verse.
What do you think of him?
Look at this.
You just interviewed Nick Fuentes.
I did.
Or had a conversation with him. What did you think of that? What do you think of him?
My experience with Nick Fuentes is that he's a terrible person and a terrible human being.
But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices.
I can confirm he's dishonest.
This child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, young white men who've been totally cut out of our economy. I mean, they really are the victims, and they're desperate, and no one speaks for them. So they go to Fuentes.
Tim Pool?
He's like incredibly articulate, and they think he's our leader. But in one of the saddest ironies of all, like, he's acting against your interests, actually.
You know, a CIA, Russian agent, whatever Tucker is, lifetime Zionist gatekeeper, and demons attacked me in my bed fraud like Tucker Carlson attacking Nick. Like, this almost makes me want to lay off Nick, him going after him like this, honestly.
To me, I'm one of the real
But he does have a point. The Christian rhetoric does help the Jews. I've been saying that all along. But Tucker will say, oh, talking about the Jews at all is, like, you know, problematic.
affected white people. You want to talk about...
All right, we don't need to hear any more of that. Ooh. All right, we don't need to see Candace. I'm over Candace. Hold on, let's do this, though. All right.
Has been...
Yeah, Nick is just like blinded by Christ. Tucker is a lifelong liar and disinformation agent. Exactly. And a total fraud.
Suggested by some Israeli officials. Support Israel reoccupying all of Gaza has been suggested by some Israeli officials.
Yeah, to have like Candace Owens, who worked at Daily Wire, got famous working for Jews, being promoted by Jews and being a shill for Israel, to only in like the last year, either one of them ever even talks about Jews. And then they're going to come in and police and try to be the gatekeepers. No, I see right through that bullshit. And it ended up backfiring anyway. Everybody, I mean, it's obvious Nick took the W against Tucker when all of that went down.
I don't know what the suggestion is. I know that we are there now trying to get people fed. As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel. Yeah, please.
Support Israel.
Pretty much up to Israel, whatever
Miami
Israel
make
wants.
30 sent $5 on Rumble. Thank you, Adam, for your work. The streams help peeps to feel less isolated in a world with a 70 IQ majority.
Yeah, I know. Well put. I agree. That's why I always say these streams and you guys and your comments and your super chats keep me sane. This little community, this little anti-Abrahamic community. Feels like I'm taking crazy pills out there, and you guys, it's good to know there's some people that get it and see the madness and see the Twilight Zone we're living in.
This? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Not everybody believes in the Jewish Twilight Zone. Not everybody's under the Judeo mind virus spell.
Reoccupying all of Gaza has been...
He says Israel's it's pretty much up to Israel. If they want to occupy Gaza, they can do it. You were expecting different? Trump says he does not believe Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. No, they're in a war. I covered this clip yesterday. Yeah, they're in a war, except one side doesn't have any tanks or missiles or airplanes or a navy and their whole city's in rubble. But yeah, it's a war, so Israel's not genociding.
They see evidence of a genocide in Gaza?
Truth Pav, yeah, we are smart and you're a retard.
Asylum 8
You
sent
believe
$5 on
Jewish
Rumble.
magic.
R.I.P. Alex Linder. His anti-Abrahamic takes were on point.
I saw a few posts about that. I don't know who that is. Alex Linder. I haven't heard of it, but if he died, I'm sorry to hear that. Is that somebody that I should have known? Who is he? A streamer, podcaster, author, like leader? I've never heard of him. Yeah, Truth Pav, we're much smarter than you. We don't fall for obvious Jewish fairy tales and Noah's Ark and talking donkeys and talking snakes. We don't believe that you could have a OnlyFans girl that slept with thousands of men, that drinks some grape juice and gets dipped in some water and all of a sudden is a better wife than some pagan girl that has a little pride in her heart.
I don't think it's that. Look,
they see evidence of a genocide in Gaza.
I don't think it's that. Look, they're in a war. Some horrible things happened on October 7th, as you know. It was a horrible, horrible thing. One of the worst I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of bad things in some president in terms of wars and potential wars. I mean, if you look at the one that we just...
Hey, how did that guy die? Linder, how did he die, by the way? Anybody know? Was he old?
Stopped. There are thousands of people being dead already at the border between Thailand and Cambodia. Thousands of people. And I mean, I've seen some bad things, but that October 7th was
years ago. So was he old and he used to do stuff years ago? I think I've heard the name, but I don't know what he looks like. I've never heard from him.
Hamas was really, really bad.
They see evidence of a genocide in Gaza.
I don't think it's that.
No, it's a war. Bibi's a war hero, don't you know? Let's hear this Rabbi Jewish Learning, 440,000 subs, why Judaism still exists.
It's been said by some very wise people that the greatest proof of God is the Jewish people's presence in the world. On a deeper level, Judaism is still around because it's extraordinarily adaptable. Judaism has the ability to be applied to all kinds of situations and to adapt as much as is necessary, and yet not only its core principles, but its culture, its way of life, its practices are sustained and unchanged. And it's the truth.
Check this video out.
Asylum sent $5 on Rumble. Linder had cancer apparently. He just passed recently. He was a race realist plus anti-Christian. Very harsh on Christianity. Not well known but super smart.
Not well known. Was he an author or a podcaster, or he did interviews or something?
In the midst of a Christian revival? Do you think we're approaching a one world government?
Do you think we're in the middle of some kind of Christian revival?
Absolutely. I mean, have you seen the baptism parties that are going on at colleges that looks like it's a kegger?
Guess what? It's not. It's a bunch of bros coming to Jesus. They're not going to be Christian anti-Semites, by the way. They're going to be Israel supporters. Like these baptism parties that Russell Brand has been doing and involved with, the baptisms that they were. I remember there was a Reawaken America tour baptism thing, and they went straight from showing the baptisms, and on the screen it says like Christians for Israel or some shit. Yeah, a bunch of CIA shills and kosher agents all excited for the Christian revival that obviously social engineers like Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson are a part of.
Do you think we're in the midst of a Christian revival? Do you think we're approaching a one world government?
Do you think we're in the middle of some kind of Christian revival?
Absolutely. I mean, have you seen the baptism parties that are going on at colleges that looks like it's a kegger, crazy tailgate party, and they're baptizing people in the back of trucks, and yeah, I think there's a huge wave going on.
Yeah, it's like a party. It's like a Jesus party. You know what I mean? Like Jesus listening to Leonard Skinner, wearing some Levi jean shorts, drinking some Judaism light. Right? It's like a kegger.
Jesus in a tuxedo T-shirt because it says like, I want to be formal, but I'm here to party too. Because I like to party, so I like my Jesus to party.
Yeah, I like to come to Jesus at a big kegger party with a bunch of my bros, drinking some Judaism light.
I think so too.
It's cool to see.
All the NPCs are doing it.
Back of trucks, and yeah, I think there's a huge wave going on.
Just wait until Passion of the Christ 2 and 3 comes out. Just wait until Joe Rogan keeps platforming more of these Christians. So the Jews are in control of everything, but there's a Christian revival? Nothing suspicious there.
So too.
It's cool to see.
Do you think the U.S. government can continue?
Continue.
Bare boots and Jesus. I like that. Alabama. Human.
There's a huge wave going on.
I think so too.
It's cool to see.
Do you think the U.S. government can continue?
Continue what?
To exist. Do you think the current system can continue?
I think it will continue.
You do? Because it does feel like we're moving towards something.
Like a one world government?
I'm not sure what.
Like a fall of Edom, Tucker? Like the fall of Edom in America? Truth Pav again. With the not real Christians cope, he says, showing niche evangelicals. We show every sect. We show all different types of people. I go out on the street and interview regular normie Christians. Stop coping. Not real Christians. Come on. We've never heard that one before, Truth Pav? Fake Christians. Okay. Hey, let me ask Truth Pav. Is the Pope a fake Christian? Are the popes not real Christians? Who's the real Christian? You?
I'm not sure what, but it seems like so much change in a short period of time. The scale's falling for so many people realizing that, what they believed was real is not. Questions people are asking, the resurgence of Christianity in the country. I mean, it all seems to be happening at once. And I know, in every age, people think the end is near, but does that ever occur to you?
And who's shilling it? Who are the biggest accounts shilling Jesus? A bunch of Zionist propagandists? Huh? Put that together. Who? Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and Jordan Peterson? Shilling Jesus? Oh, bet your ass Jordan Peterson's part of this Jesus revival. Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes.
At $20, keep up the great work exposing the lies. Ever heard the song Rev 22? When you buy Pastifer, think you dig it? Christ is coming, and so much.
I'll check it out, Jesus Bryce.
I think it will continue to exist until people no longer have the appetite for it to exist.
You think we're pretty far from that?
Yeah, it goes back to critical thinking.
For people
critical thinking, yeah.
Neuralink, it's that chip that, they're going to put in
a bunch
everybody's
of
brain.
no more critical thinking, and the less critical thinking, the more Christianity. Pucifer. Who is Pucifer? Hold on.
So just like the Jews missed it with
Let's learn about the great deception from the bearded Jewish bros.
the first coming, expecting the second coming, they're going to miss it again at the beginning of a tribulation. You see, there has to be a mediator to act on behalf of the Jewish people to shake hands with the beast that ratifies this peace treaty. He's going to be in a...
Okay, cuckoo, cuckoo. Whenever I hear people start talking like this, it's just like, oh, you think Harry Potter's real? Oh, you believe in the most schizo-apocalyptic nonsense ever?
We are laughing. On behalf of the Jewish people to shake hands with the beast that ratifies this peace treaty. He's going to be an Assyrian goy representing the nations, but this
an Assyrian goy? Is that what he said? He's going to be an Assyrian
goy representing the nations, but this Jewish mediator is going to be the Mashiach to them. He's going to say he's from the tribe of Judah, descendant of King David, and he's going to begin the rebuilding of a third temple. But he's going to be a false Messiah, Zar HaMashiach. And the things that this man does is going to lead to the deaths of countless Jews greater than that of World War II during the Holocaust.
Now, we have interviewed many rabbis from the Temple Institute, and they all say the same thing. The 10th heifer will be processed by the Messiah, according to the Jewish sages.
Oh, that's why the red heifer hasn't been sacrificed yet. The Messiah has to do it. How long before Trump says, hey, I heard there's a heifer that needs to be burned. He's all red. I like red. Is Trump going to do something that allows the burning of the red heifer? They believe the Messiah has to do it. Well, processed, yeah. Because some people say that the Moshiach builds the temple. Others say that they build the temple and then the Moshiach comes, but you can't build the temple until you sacrifice the red heifer to purify the land and the priests and stuff. So They kind of take both sides of every issue, so no matter what happens, they can claim prophecies fulfilled.
And they all say the same thing. The 10th heifer will be processed by the Messiah, according to the Jewish sages. But that Messiah, the third temple, is actually the false prophet.
The Jewish Messiah is actually the Antichrist. So the Christians, according to their end times theology, need the Antichrist and the red heifers and the third temple. Just like the guy told me on the street at the beach the other day. Has to happen. It's inevitable, and it has to happen for Jesus to come back. Here's an old little clip I got. The Judeo plan to rebuild the temple. Let's hear these wizards talk about their temple. You know, maybe European people need to start having our own temple cults that aren't Jewish. I want to see some pagan temples built. We need a pagan temple cult. We need to out-temple the temple cultist. Not be like, oh, we have a spiritual temple. We have a Jewish spiritual temple in our circumcised foreskin hearts. We're the heavenly Jerusalem now. The heavenly Holy Land is in our hearts. The Jew versus Jew showdown.
The temple is the focus.
Yeah, we need to start temple maxing. Christians will kvetch like the Christians try to shut down the guy in Greece that built the temple. Gnostic informant went out and interviewed him. Truth Pav says we're crybabies. Dude, you've been crying the last hour and 20 minutes in the chat. And I'm only leaving you in there because we're laughing at you. You know why you're here? Truth Pav, 1980?
We are laughing.
That's why. Thank you.
Of our prayers, we mourn the temple's destruction.
We really kind of focus as Jews spiritually to the destruction of the second temple. This is about construction, and the third temple is integration. Everybody comes to the third temple.
Pass.
The temple is the spiritual center of the Jewish people, and it is sort of like the soul of the Jewish people. In the same way that a person who is colorblind, you can't describe to him what red and green are. It's hard to describe exactly what we're missing because we haven't really experienced it in a long time.
Our prayers are always focused on the rebuilding of the temple. 7 times a day, in our official formal prayer services, we ask for the rebuilding of the temple. Now, if you would...
But then you'll hear from these idiots online, Zionism's not Judaism. Is that why they pray 7 times a day? Is that a Judaism prayer or a Zionism prayer? Or they'll say, oh, it's the secular atheist. Actually, did you know? Zionism's an atheist movement. It's a bunch of atheists. We're blaming atheists for these prophecy nuts? And you'll criticize the Talmud, but not the Torah? You're a limited hangout. You're controlled op.
Count the number of prayers that constitutes over the last 2,000 years. It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of prayers. It's billions of prayers. We are very focused on needing the temple.
It is a controversial question at the holiest site on earth.
On the Temple Mount cannot be any other house of prayer, just the house of God, the temple of God.
Just the other day for Tisha B'Av, they were the Ben Gavir and a bunch of Jews went up and were praying and humping and calling for the destruction of the dome and the building of the temple
of God. El Askam Mosque and the Dome of the Rock that were built on the location of the temple will be removed. We have very good engineers that will take them stone by stone and rebuild them back in Mecca, the most holy place of the Muslims. The Temple Mount will become again the location.
Trump's dragging his feet right now on, he's criticizing Canada and France and England for talking about Palestinian statehood. What if Trump comes up with the art of the deal of the century, the deal of the millennium? that in order to recognize a Palestinian state, they got to move the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa to Mecca, because this is one of their plans. Could that be what we're going to see soon?
The Temple Mount will become again the location of the third temple.
Any idea of rebuilding the temple in human terms and political terms obviously cause a lot of problems. I'm not looking to do it that way. This is the chief rabbi of Haifa some years ago said, when will we rebuild the temple? Is when the Arabs ask us to rebuild the temple.
Mm-hmm. When will that happen? You guys are organizing a temple build? Oh, we got another troll?
We will rebuild the third temple. We will do animal sacrifices again, and God will give us the whole of Israel, all the way up to the Euphrates River and down to the Nile.
Adam's a shill because he doesn't want everybody to believe in a Jewish deception. Okay, 4D bullshit patrol. You want some flack too, huh? Hey, you're a shill because you want everybody to stay brainwashed into Jewish mythologies, okay? Suck on that. Cry about that. Hey, I'm glad we got some new kvetching Christian trolls in the chat today. Oh, he bailed already? They come in and seethe and cope and cry. Where's the other guy?
River, we'll have the greater Israel that we've always dreamed of, and we won't have to believe in Jesus to get it. That's what you guys are. Maybe you'll be alive. Hopefully you'll be alive to see it. But that's the truth. We will rebuild the third temple.
We celebrate the miracle of Hanukkah. More than 2,000 years ago, a ruthless tyrant persecuted the Jewish people and desecrated the Temple of Jerusalem. But a group of Jewish patriots defeated a powerful army, rededicated the temple, and won back their right to worship God in freedom.
In Jerusalem, King David established our capital 3,000 years ago. In Jerusalem, King Solomon built our temple, which stood for many centuries. In Jerusalem, Jewish exiles from Babylon rebuilt the temple, which stood for many more.
They were wearing hats back in his first term that said, "Build Israel great again." Small hat detected. Build Israel great again. What does that mean? Build Israel. Trump's really all about MEGA. He later did the meme, "Make Israel great again." What? Build Gaza? Annex the West Bank? Build the temple?
Which stood for many more centuries. In Jerusalem, the Maccabees rededicated that temple, and restored Jewish sovereignty in this land. And it was here in Jerusalem, some 2,000 years later, that the soldiers of Israel spoke three immortal words: Hal Habayit Biadenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Words that lifted the spirit of the entire nation. We are in Jerusalem, and we are here to stay.
So officially opened the United States Embassy in Jerusalem, the capital the Jewish people established in ancient times. Congratulations. Today,
Truth Pavlov's dog.
Heil Chow sent $10 on Rumble. Hello Adam. Glad to catch you live. Wanted to show some support. You make a lot of sense. Also, couldn't it be considered animal sacrifice when they beat chickens to death?
Yeah, that's Yom Kippur. They don't have the temple, so they do the chickens now. That's Yom Kippur. Somebody made a meme, Jesus as the chicken and the Christians as the rabbi swinging around. It's the same concept of the vicarious atonement, scapegoat atonement, putting your sins onto an animal or onto Jesus. Same idea. It's having no accountability for things you've done and wanting to get out of jail free and be forgiven and don't have to have any guilt for being a evil person.
All of the items there and the garments that have been made, everything in preparation.
Haven't seen this one for a while. Yeah, Pav, Truth Pav, if you got so much to say about how we're so wrong, why don't you show up in one of the spaces, in the CQ space, and give us all your greatest arguments. See how well you fend for yourself there.
This is another of the four quarters. This is the Jewish quarter. I want you to notice treasuries of the temple here. This is the location where Rabbi Israel Ariel, Rabbi Chaim Richman, and all of their staff are putting together the implements that they're going to use in the next temple that will stand on the Temple Mount. They have, for example, the harps, and we'll see in the harp factory how Mika Shoshana Harari build the harps. But they have all the...
Dude, could you imagine some badass pagan temples with some harping virgins, some virgin priestesses with their, like, angels with their harps? Awesome.
Items. They need the mizrach, which is the pitcher-shaped item made out of pure gold or pure silver. They put the sacrificial blood in.
$15 What is this? The Big Tech's Waffins? Is that who just donated? Waffins from Big Tech that always does the videos? Welcome, Waffins. If it's the same one, it might not be.
Asylum 8 sent $5 on Rumble. Teresa Bible called the Boomer Bible, and it's filled with nothing but science. Genesis is Big Bang. Seems funny.
Boomer Bible? I'll have to check into that. Is it like on Amazon or something? That's funny.
Garments that have been made, everything in preparation for the erection of the temple itself.
I want folks that are listening to us right now to realize that you're seeing a prime example in back of us of the messianic expectation right here in the old city in Jerusalem, where you have Jews that have come from around the world. You've got folks that are right here studying.
Luvine McConfusion sent $20 on Rumble. At Luvine McConfusion.
Thank you, Leuven Confusion. Yeah, is the Boomer Bible? It's the Boomer Bible, verse Matthew 5:2.
You damn right I love the Jews.
Boomer Bible.
Absolutely. 100%. Because I'm a Christian.
Yep. Amen, brothers.
Is a Jew.
That's right.
So
King of the
damn
Jews.
Right, I stand with the Jews. 100%.
100%. I love that soundbite. It's so good. I'm going to have a lot of these sound bites pretty soon.
Priesthood. Not only are they studying for the priesthood, but they are actually making
Donald Trump sent $5. I, for one, am not a big fan of the rise of the global internet conspiracy, also known as the Beast backclankers and backbankers.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the beast system either. That was true. That was Truth Pav, huh?
To use in the temple.
If he should come at any moment, they want to have everything ready so when the temple is up, they'll be able to go in and...
And I can't say it enough, the fact is this is happening in our lifetime while we're living. We're seeing this.
That's thrilling. Let's go along.
Jimmy, we know from Scripture there's got to be another temple built before Jesus Christ comes back. And when you're in Israel and talking with the Jewish leaders, it's just amazing to see the...
See Through It All says the Boomer Bible just has Genesis 12:3 on every page. Right. Salvation is of the Jews, and curse the Jews and you'll be cursed on every single page. Just a different reiteration of that. We hit the goal. Wait. No, we didn't.
urgency that they have to rebuild that temple.
And especially in the Jewish quarter where we just were, because that's where the Temple Institute is. They're making all the preparation. They're training the people to serve in this.
$5 away from the goal.
Is there the expectancy of a temple standing soon on the Temple Mount? It's just evident wherever you may go in the city of Jerusalem, even among the leaders of the nation. But before I think we get into the preparations and all that's going on to build that temple, we need to consider the previous 2 temples that stood there on the Temple Mount.
Donald Trump.
Oh, Trump appointed Janine Pirro to be one of the top people, the FBI, I think it was, or Attorney General.
Donald Trump recognized history. He, like King Cyrus before him, fulfilled the biblical prophecy of the gods worshipped by Jews, Christians, and yes, Muslims, that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of the Jewish state, and that the Jewish people finally deserve a righteous, free, and sovereign Israel. Donald Trump recognized history. He, like
interim U.S. attorney.
Heil Chow sent $5 on Rumble.
Yeah.
Goal. Go Al.
I do need a Mexican soccer announcer to scream goal for when we hit the goal. You guys all look forward to that. There it is again.
Sent $5.
Goal! Oh my God. These copes are just get worse and worse, Truth Pav. He says, you're obsessed with Jews. Hey, let me ask you, Truth Pav, were the Jews ever chosen by God? You think they're chosen by God? That makes you obsessed. You're obsessed with everybody bowing down to your Jewish Messiah that came from the chosen people. When Jesus returns, Truth Pav, you waiting for Jesus to return? You think he's going to float down from the clouds on a horse, on a white horse? Truth Pav, answer that question right now or you're banned. Do you believe, yes or no? Just a big yes, all caps. I want to see. Do you believe Jesus is floating down in a cloud in the second coming to save you from the Jews? Yes or no? You called us dumb, so I want to hear. We're going to see who's really dumb. We're going to see how hard you're trusting the plan. This is Truth Pav when he goes to bed at night.
Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jewish God!
He says, how odd of God to choose the Jews. He didn't. They made up a God that chose them. I love how he calls us stupid and he believes the Jews when they say that they were chosen by God. Like you fell for the most obvious Jewish lie of all time. The biggest Jewish lie ever created, that they're chosen by the God of the universe. That when I go out on the streets, again, I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to be like, do you think it's a coincidence that the Jews wrote the Bible and that they're the chosen people in the Bible? You think that's a coincidence or real? Truth Path says, yes, 5 times. Yes, Jesus is going to float down in a cloud. And his robe is going to be dripping in blood. And he's going to smite the nations, right? Smite the Goyim. Are you ready for that? I love how the Christians will say we're dumb and they believe the dumbest Jewish mythologies ever. Here, this is what Truth Pav believes when Jesus returns.
When we see Jesus returning, he has written on his thigh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. What we think is, oh, well, he's the king of all the human kings, all the earthly kings, and the Lord of all the earthly lords. I think there's something much deeper being expressed.
He's the king of all the earthly Goyim kings. That's what the Bible says. All the kings will bow down and lick the dust of his feet and tremble in fear. The king of the Jews. Right, Truth Pav? Is that what you want? You and your rabbi friends want all the Goyim to bow down to the king of the Jews and the Jewish Messiah? Is that your dream? Is that your plan? Is that the solution, Truth Pav? Jesus is going to float down once the Antichrist takes over and save us from the Jews because the Jewish book said so?
In this title, these are titles of regency.
Yeah.
King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I think that what we're looking at here is something that resembles an empire.
Yeah.
That there are many kingdoms, terrestrial and extraterrestrial. And the Son of God is King and Lord over all. And we know that this is the case because in the Bible we encounter these angelic beings being described as princes. And in fact, Jesus is called the Prince of Princes in the Old Testament. And so princes What do princes do? What is the function of a prince? They govern. Right. Indeed, we use the term principality. Now, that term is not directly found in the Bible. That's a translation of archon. But the idea is in the Bible. A principality is a realm governed by prince.
Jeez,
the Bible says the earth went dark for a period of time.
When Jesus returns, let's hear Strobel, the best-selling author Strobel, that gets promoted by all the big Zionist news sites with his shitty Christian apologetics book about Jesus existing, Truth Pav. This is your guy, Lee Strobel? This is your proof that Jesus existed, this Christian apologist, fraud, that gets promoted by Glenn Beck and all the big Zionist promoters? Let's hear what he says when Jesus returns. The earth went dark when Jesus died. I bet you, I haven't watched this yet, I bet you he's going to say the one historian that talked about some eclipse, which is not what the Bible says, and tries to team it up with that. Connect it with that. I bet you that's what he's going to say.
The Bible says the earth went dark for a period of time. And I'm thinking, wouldn't somebody else have written something about this if the earth actually went dark during that time period? Well, there's a guy named Thales, who was a historian, who wrote a history of the Eastern Mediterranean world in about 50 AD. His works have been lost, but in the year 221, a guy named Julius Africanus had a copy of what he wrote, and he was kind of...
By the way, the Bible says it went dark for 3 hours. There's never been a eclipse that makes everything go dark for 3 hours. It lasts for like 15 or 20 minutes. And the chronology and the sourcing here, what he's talking about, it's a bunch of bullshit. In fact, we're going to look it up too. What does he say?
His works have been lost, but in the year 221, a guy named Julius Africanus had a copy of what he wrote, and he was kind of responding to it and said, oh yeah, Thales says that the darkness was as a result of an eclipse, which we knew it couldn't have been because of the timing of the
Because
Passover.
it was the Passover when he was crucified, and Passover is always a full moon.
Full moon.
That's how they know it's
So
time
you can't have an eclipse.
for Passover.
A report by a Roman scholar and historian that is corroborating a claim in the scriptures that many people would read and say, that can't be true. Wow.
I really
Whoa.
and I would tell you if I didn't.
These people are so dumb. What did Julius Africanus say? He criticizes Thales for attributing the darkness to a solar eclipse, since a solar eclipse is astronomically impossible during a full moon. So it's already Christian coping, because it's Passover, it can't happen. Africanus insists that the darkness was supernatural, coinciding with the death of Jesus, trying to harmonize the gospel with history. No, if the earth really went dark for 3 hours like the Bible says, it would be written about all over the place. An astrological event of that magnitude, and nobody ever mentioned it. They try to twist some guy talking about just a regular eclipse to be about Jesus.
By the way, I think
we got some more. Hold on. Could America be Edom? Rabbi Short video. Let's see this. Rabbi Rafi, 4 months ago.
So here's Rashi's second comment on that verse. He says,
Rashi is like one of their top sages, commentaries, interpreters.
Botenu Darshu, our rabbis expounded on this verse. And here he's essentially quoting a passage in the Talmud. He says, where it says, Katon, that I made you small, that the Edomites, you are small in that you don't have writing or a language, and you are lowly that you don't appoint the king, the son of a king. Rashi on the Talmud there says they didn't have their own language. They borrowed a language from another nation. But while I was reflecting on it, last week we made a lot of comments drawing parallels between the statements in our tradition regarding Edom and the end of days and current events, especially what's happening now with the United States of America and Israel.
USA equals Edom. Wait for it. Another rabbi. How did they get away with saying you're cherry picking rabbis? They're not real rabbis. What are those rabbis' name? Oh, well, this doesn't matter because you hate. All these rabbis talking about destroying you doesn't mean anything because you just hate. Or these rabbis don't have any power. Another rabbi. Funny how they all think USA is Edom. They're all fantasizing about the destruction of Western civilization in Europe and America. And we're exposing it, and it's like nobody cares.
And that it could be that the current political events are unfolding in such a way to set the stage for these prophecies to come true. So I thought to myself, in the context of the United States of America, this is exactly accurate. This is exactly accurate. America does not have its own language or its own writing system. It uses the English language, which is from England.
Toaz Garden says, dozens of Christians thought Adam, more than dozens, it's hundreds. Dozens of Christians have thought Adam was stupid, and then they admitted Adam is right, and now they're here. One day it will be your turn. That's why we're not banning you. That's why I'm giving you attention. So that's why you're our special boy today, Truth Pav.
Exactly accurate. This is exactly accurate. America does not have its own language or its own writing system. It uses the English language, which is from England, not from America. There's no American language. And the fact that they don't appoint a king, the son of a king, there's no dynastic kingship, because we vote in presidents every 4 years or maximum 8 years. There's a different governor, there's a different king as or president of the country. So this comment in the Talmud about Edom, which is taken, meaning it's expounded from a verse in Ovadia, which is speaking of the end of days, fits perfectly the United States of America. And having looked into some more of the commentaries, I found someone who wrote in the 19th century who wrote exactly this, It was blown away. My eyeballs popped out of my head. This is an excerpt from the commentary of Ben Yehoyada. Ben Yehoyada was written by Rabbi Yosef Chaim of Baghdad, who's also known as the Ben Ish Chai, a very famous rabbi of the Sephardic tradition. He says, this is just as you'll find, and this is as you will find now, ata now, ki malchut shel American, the kingdom of American, he says, Ein lahem lashon mishalahem. They do not have their own language. The Americans, he writes in the 19th century, do not have their own language. Ela lakchu halashon mimalchut shel Anglis. Rather, they took their language from the kingdom of the Anglis. Okay, English.
The Angles.
Vehem medabrim ata bilshon Anglis. And now they speak in American. They speak the language of Anglis. So he likens this passage in the Talmud of a kingdom that has not its own language or its own writing to the United States of America, he writes, which has taken their language from the British.
We found a complete copy of the book of Isaiah in the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1948, complete copy that you can read online, if you can read the Hebrew, but you can read a translation. It reads exactly like our modern day Bible.
And that's how many years before the death of Jesus? 600 years or so?
So 780 years before Jesus, Isaiah writes all these prophecies that carbon dates to 150 to 300 years before Jesus. This is a copy of Isaiah's original written in 780 BC, but we have it in a museum. Here's what it says. Isaiah 9, that to Galilee a light has come, for a child is born, a son is given, and he will be called Mighty God, Everlasting Father. So this is Judaism. So you don't call any human God. There's only one God, and he's the eternal Yahweh, the I Am. And yet here...
So you already saw Jews midrashically interpreting verses like in Isaiah 9 to be about this heavenly savior person, and it didn't start with a historical Jesus. They're already saying that's the Son of God. I don't know if it's a Targum commentary on it or what, but the different interpretation of Isaiah 9 in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that makes me, hold on a second. I want to look at that exactly. He's talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? I got the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible here. It's all the parts of like the Old Testament that they found, the copies that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let's look up Isaiah 9 and see what it says. It says he's the Son of God. Is that what the claim was? He acts like this is like proof that Jesus is real, or that this jives with Judaism. Well, yeah, it does. It was Jews that created it. It was Jews that read Isaiah 9 and then wrote a pesher about Jesus.
1948, complete copy that you can read online if you can read the Hebrew, but you can read a translation. It reads exactly like our modern day Bible.
And that's how many years before?
They always say this. It's not exactly. It's very, very similar, the Isaiah and the Masoretic text and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Asylum
8 sent $5 on Rumble. Europa leader has been coming out against Christianity recently. All of a sudden he lost his huge Telegram channel. No warning. Nick F isn't even app banned.
What do you mean Europa leader? What is that? Identity Europa? I didn't think they existed anymore. Let me see that again. What did you say? Europa leader has been coming out against Christianity. All of a sudden Europa the Last Battle leader? Like documentary guy that made it is coming out against Christianity, and now he lost his huge Telegram channel? Probably because it got mass flagged by Christians. Christians go on mass flagging sprees, censoring for Jesus, because they can't win the arguments. They have to lie, slander, and mass flag and report everybody like spiritual Jews.
The death of Jesus, 600 years or so.
So 780 years before Jesus, Isaiah writes all these prophecies that carbon dates to 150 to 300 years before Jesus. This is a copy of Isaiah's original written in 780 BC, but we have it in a museum. Here's what it says. Isaiah 9, that to Galilee a light has come, for a child is born, a son is given, and he will be called Mighty God, Everlasting Father. So this is Judaism. So you don't call that to Galilee a light has come.
That's not what it says. It does not see Galilee a light has come. He's bullshitting. It says, for that later time he will make it glorious by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. This is where they got Jesus coming from, the Galilee, was this verse. Because then in verse 6 it says, for a child is born to us, a son is given to us. So the son word was connected. So the ancient Jews just would find anywhere that the Bible talks about a son and say that's talking about the servant and the Son of Man and the branch and the Messiah. That's the way they did it. So that would tie in this verse. The Prince of Peace. This is the verse that they put on the Prince of Peace award that the Jews gave to Trump, by the way. Isaiah 9. Did he say it was a... Hold on.
Isaiah 9, that to Galilee a light has come, for a child is born, a son is given, and he will be called Mighty.
The idiot sent $10, caught a live stream again, 2 times this week. Last time I told you I saw you in 2012 or 13, but might have been like 2015. At the time I thought you were not making senses with the religious angle. Since Trump came into office you have been right.
Yeah. Yep. You can't, once you see it, you can't not see it. Beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. The light is shine, joy, presence, joy.
God, everlasting born, a son is given, and he will be called Mighty God, Everlasting Father. So this is Judaism.
He will be called Mighty God, Everlasting Father. It does say that, yeah. I wonder is that what the original says, though? Hold on. Sorry, I'm doing a little book stuff right now. So that would be, is the Mighty God in the Masoretic? What verse is that? 6. For us, a child is born, son is given, government will be he'll be
Toys Garden sent
wonderful.
$13 on Rumble. I have a file in my Wodenotzik compendium on X called Targeted Harassment of Christians File Good Times. We don't hate Christians enough.
We don't.
Fehuansuzoto Thurasaz.
No. Every day I hate them more. So I don't know why this guy's even trying to like brag about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, this is NIV. Maybe that's why. Maybe if I do KJV, it's different. But it says the Son will be called Mighty God. He will be called a Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. How is Jesus the Prince of Peace if he said he came not to bring peace but the sword? Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. This is a little KJ. I need to look at the King James and see what that says, too. That says mighty God too. So this whole guy's video about the Dead Sea Scrolls saying mighty God and that's Judaism. This is what the regular Bible says. Why even mention the Dead Sea Scrolls?
God, everlasting Father. So this is Judaism. So you don't call any human God. There's only one God, and He's the eternal Yahweh, the I Am. And yet here in Judaism in about 780 BC, and even before that with Moses, is this foretelling of this time that God is going to enter into humanity
as the Son. So yeah, so it is Jewish. So they'll say So when the Jews kvetch, the rabbis kvetch and say Christianity's not Jewish, it's pagan because they have a man is God. Well, it was Jews that got it from verses like that, and the dual thrones, the two thrones in heaven of God and the Son of Man, which they connected to that Son obviously as well. What are demons according to Enoch?
Basically, what have we gotten wrong about demons? Basically,
Oh, look, it's Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire, shilling Jesus and demons and goy slop at the big YouTube channel with 180,000 followers. I bet I'd have a lot more than 180,000 if I wasn't banned on YouTube 5 years ago. See Through It All says they out of context did the shit out of the Old Testament to make a story of a Messiah fulfilling prophecy. Exactly. It's as simple as that. And sorry, Truth Pav, if you're too dumb that you think a magical superhero showed up on earth and nobody else noticed him outside of the Bible and fulfilled all of these things and did all this magic, and not just that some Jews made up a story, you are dumb. You are gullible. You are naive. You are delusional. But I want to save you. Now that you know, maybe you didn't know this, maybe you were duped, maybe you were indoctrinated by your parents, maybe the church love bombed you when you were in a very difficult time. It's a lie, Truth Pav. We're just trying to save you from the Jewish lies, okay? Do you understand that? Do you understand that, Christians? We're trying to save you from the Jewish brainwashing. It's as simple as that. You want to know the motive? You want to know the motivation? It's that. Oh yeah, I'd have if YouTube didn't ban me and suppress and shadow ban, I'd have probably 1 million easy.
We will view demon as anything that is, well, demonic, anything that is scary or grotesque, we would call a demon. We lump all of that together in this term demon. So in the Western mind, a demon is it's like a boogeyman, basically. It's like anything that's evil and malevolent, supernaturalism, that's all demon. That's a demon. In the ancient Hebrew cosmology, they were much more narrow in their defining of the word demon. To them, a demon was something very, very specific. A demon was the disembodied spirit of a giant that died in the antediluvian.
Hey, Truth Pav, the Jews are trying to destroy Christianity, right? Is that why Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire have Lee Strobel on and constantly shill, and Jordan Peterson and constantly shill Jesus because the Jews want to destroy it? Truth Pav, you're not giving opinion, you're giving your copes. Are your opinion a bunch of copes?
World before the flood, their spirit, as this is in the book of Enoch, by the way, God judges them that because they're neither wholly of their fathers, their angelic fathers, or of their human mothers, that they're
Hey, Truth Pav, how long have you been a Christian? Tell us that in the chat.
going to be cursed when they die to wander the earth.
How does something become nothing? We don't believe that. That's black hole. That's new studies show that they don't even know if Big Bang is true, actually, because of the expanding universe thing. Yeah, Truth Pav, are you a flat earther? Everything that you don't like is demonic, and the only answer is Jesus. How does something come from nothing? It doesn't. How did God come from nothing? How did Adam come from
sent
dirt?
$5 on Rumble. The Jews hate Christianity so much that a Bible is in every hotel room. Clearly as evil as Mein Kampf to them.
Exactly. Truth Pav says, how does nothing become something? It doesn't. Only in the Bible, only in your magical Bible world, does God say, let there be light, and the sun appeared out of nothing. No. Your Jewish God is not the eternal creator of the universe. The universe is just eternal. Existence exists. You don't need to create an extra step of a magical Jewish God that chose some people. No, none of us think everything came from nothing. Yeah, how old are you, Truth Pav? And how long have you been a Christian? You need to go into the CQ space. They will help you. They will save you. It's time for an intervention in your life, Truth Pav. You're here. God has led you here. Get in the space and talk to the guys. So how are we here? So you want me to answer every unknown question of the world? Otherwise, my Jesus and my Bible's real? They're taking advantage of your desire for answers to life's mysteries and getting you brainwashed into what they say that they were ever chosen. Salvation comes through Adam Green. That's funny, yeah. Waffins, again. Waffins, are you the Waffins from Big Tech Show? The guy you're arguing with is a Christian identity guy, and he just made this account today to try to derail your show. He hangs out with the rainbow glasses nerds. He's not going to tell you the truth. He's actually scared to show up on the CQ space. Well, I'm not surprised at all. And he's not derailing it. I don't think he is. I always talk to the trolls. That's what they want. They're a little attention hungry. And I don't run from trolls. I expose them. Yeah, your pagan gods are real. Hey, retard Truth Pav. This is another cope. If it wasn't your first day here acting like you know everything, I'm agnostic and non-religious, and I don't believe in Thor or Odin. Okay? You have any other copes now?
As bodiless vagabonds. They're going to be hungry, they're going to be thirsty, presumably they're going to have all the desires of the flesh, but no bodies through which to fulfill those desires, to satiate those desires. That was a curse that was placed on them by God.
The success of the Jewish...
No, I don't want to hear him. Let's see, do we have another one? All right. I wasn't going to do it. We're at 2 hours, but we're going to go out today. Oh, first of all, thank you for everybody for making the goal. You guys are amazing.
Yes! That's awesome!
Smash the goal.
Thank you. Thank you!
Truth Pav, thanks for being here.
Alrighty then.
Being here is the first steps to breaking free from the chains of Yahweh, from liberating your mind from the Jesus deception and the Judeo paradigm. Truth Pav. This is for you, Truth Pav. What do you say? How convenient. You think I'm shutting down the show because of you? That I've gave attention to you the whole show, and now you think that I'm scared of you? Come on. All right. We're going to go out with a video for Truth Pav, since he's so interested in what we're saying here and totally is good faith and wants to know where we're coming from. Meet the secret agents, Jews, who started the Christian deception. This is a compilation for you. Shout out to everybody for the big donos. I love you all. Like, share, subscribe, clip it up, share the links. NoMoreNews.org for all the links, and buy the t-shirts. I'm going to be on Killstream tonight, maybe in 1 hour. Wasn't able to do it yesterday. Had some car issues, actually. So I'll be over on Killstream later tonight. And this is for you, Truth Pav. You better stay here in the comments and watch like a good little boy. Don't run away now. Don't be scared and run away, Truth Pav. And I expect to see you here next week with a book report on all that you've learned.
Yes! That's awesome!
On the 9th day on the month of Tevet, it's the Hebrew calendar, on the Hebrew calendar.
Which is?
It's next week. It's almost on Christmas, by the way. Guess what happened? Every Jew in the world that is a practicing Jew fast.
Will fast.
Fasting, yes. Fasting. Why do we fast?
Why?
Why? I found the answer. We fast for a special Jew. You know what his name? Simon Peter.
That's not a reason you got to keep secret. I mean, the Shulchan Aruch says we fast and we're not telling you why. There are two Christian reasons. why the 9th of Teves became a fast that we didn't want to publicize. But in our small group, I will publicize it. In a famous book of anonymous authorship called Toldos Yeshu. Toldos Yeshu is kind of the Jewish history of Yashka. And this was a widely circulated work in the Middle Ages, anonymous authorship, and it actually had multiple versions as well. The story is that the 9th of Teves is a yortzeit. It is the day of the death of a righteous person. But the righteous person we are commemorating is not Ezra HaSofer, but it's a man called Shimon Kippah. Shimon Kippah. Kippah in Aramaic is rock.
So now I will call you Peter. The Rock.
Shimon Kippah is none other than the man that is known in the Christian Bible as Simon Peter, the Apostle Peter, Yashka's closest disciple, and the one who succeeded him as the leader of the church. Peter became the first pope, the first bishop of Rome, and his name was Simon, Shimon, and Peter means rock, Petra. And Yashka gave him the name Peter because he says, upon this rock I will found my church.
And upon this rock I will build what I must call my church. The gates of hell will not prevail against it. To you I give the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
And in Aramaic, that's Kippah. Kippah means rock. And Shimon Kippah is the Apostle Peter. So the 9th of Teves, we fast because we're grieving over the death, not the birth, the death of a great tzaddik, the Apostle Peter.
Every Jew in the world fast for Simon Peter.
I never heard that.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
So they don't know who it is, though.
No, they know who it is.
But why, wait. Why do they fast?
Because during the time of tribulation of the Jews, during the first century, Peter is actually protected the Jews because, quote unquote, he was the apostle to the Jews. So they say he actually saved the Jewish people.
Well,
Peter, according to Judaism,
is what?
He's a secret agent of Judaism that was put by the Jews themselves to protect the Jewish people from those big, mean Christians. It's very, very interesting.
Now, according to Sefer Toldos Yeshu, it refers to one person, and he was a rabbi who was sort of amongst the sages, and he went into a secretive, sort of a double agent role for the purpose of corrupting Christianity. The early Christianity was already corrupted, but his goal was to go in there and make it so corrupted that regular Jewish people would have nothing to do with it. The description given refers to Paul, and in the Rashi commentary we have Paul as well as Simon, Peter, and John. So within these people who are described as authentic Jews, who in order to separate Christianity away from the Jewish people, created this New Testament. Well, they took a language, either way, they took a language that was not something the Jewish people would use, Greek or Latin. It would not be acceptable to the Jewish people. And they wrote the books in those languages. And they created customs that were different from the Jewish customs. So the Jewish people would stay away from Christianity.
The manuscript circulated in secret among Jews. Toldos Yeshu presents the later history of the Christian religion, which of course happened because the Jews planted a sort of counter agent who was going to act as if he was a Christian, but he was going to convince the Christians to leave the Jewish religion.
The Talmud continues with, their script and language were borrowed from another nation. Rashi's commentary to this continues, others wrote their books for them. So others wrote their books for them, namely John, Paul, and Simon Peter. All of them Jews. They, the Jews, transformed the language into an obscure one in order to separate them from Israel. They impersonated priests and ordained all the Christian laws and customs and books, as is stated explicitly in the Kliyat Yeshu narrative.
This is a little controversial because a lot of people want to deny this happened, but the first pope was actually a Jewish scholar. And this first pope, who was this great scholar, he was not a pope, he was a rabbi living in Jaffa. He was a fisherman. And to this day, the pope wears a ring that has a fisherman on it from this first pope. But the first pope was actually just a great rabbi. And the Jews were being terribly hassled by the early Christians who were hanging around Israel. And he had an idea. He says, if you give me permission, he went to the sages, he said, if you give me permission, I would like to go to the temple and ask the Kohanim for certain names of God that only they're allowed to use, and I will use them, create miracles, get all the Christians excited about it, and then move them out of Israel.
Toldos Yeshu gives us the following story about Shimon Kippur.
The early Christians were, of course, all Jews, as Yashka himself was a Jew. And as a result, similar to Messianic Jews today, they infiltrated Jewish congregations. They davened in synagogues. They participated in Shabbat and in Yom Tov. And this was a very dangerous thing. This was like a cancer within Judaism. Because as a result, your Jewish friends and neighbors might be espousing Christian heretical ideas. And the Chachamim, the hated Pharisees of the New Testament, so to speak, the Pharisees thought this was a very, very dangerous thing. Because this was introducing a cancerous influence that could take Jews away from Judaism. So Shimon Kippur volunteered to do the equivalent of a suicide mission, a spiritual suicide mission. He basically said, I will create a church. I will create a new religion. I will, as it were, take Christians out of Judaism and make them a sect and make them a group that is totally distinct. And in that way, they will be seen to be a different religion. In other words, they will no longer be part of Judaism, so to speak. They will be separate, and although once they're separate, they could oppress us, they could hurt us in various ways, but at least black and white will be clearly demarcated. We will know Christian, Jewish.
If you see a picture of the Vatican, you take a look at it and say, look at this guy, okay? You look at, for example, the Pope, and you look up and say, you know something? The guy's wearing a yarmulke, number one. This guy must be a rabbi. Until you look at the wall and you see a crucifix on the wall, okay? Then you say, uh-oh, totally different thing. And you realize that Christianity is a bastardized, a mamzer form of Judaism. It's Judaism in a way, because it teaches about God, it teaches about Kedusha, it teaches about Avos Hashem, it does. They speak about loving God and that God loves you. It talks about repentance. It talks about Olam Haba and Olam Hazeh, about what the future world, about the kingdom of heaven. It's loaded with Jewish concepts. The problem is they stuck in this concept that the man, the Mashiach who they believe, okay, also happens to be a God. Boom! Piece of Avodah Zarah. They couldn't leave out the Avodah Zarah. Okay? So it's Judaism with a piece of Avodah Zarah attached onto it.
And that's idolatry. Where can you find this clip? I'll drop the link in the description below, or you can search on my advanced search for Meet the Secret Agents Who Started the Christian Deception.
I have to.
Here's part 2. We'll go part 2. It's been a while since I've seen this one.
So Peter said, in order for me to do this, I have to give up my affiliation with the Jewish community. I have to go to
Let me get the link for you before I forget. Did Truth Pav leave? Of course he did. He can't handle it. He's like, no, I can't watch all these rabbis bragging about Peter starting Christianity. No, I don't want to know that the rabbis actually secretly fast for Peter for helping create Christianity and that he was a rabbi. No. He's just seething about it. There it is. It's in the Rumble chat. Share it. Everybody give this a share. All right, and here's part 2.
Say I embrace him. So Peter said, in order for me to do this, I have to give up my affiliation with the Jewish community. I have to go to Yashka and say I embrace him wholeheartedly. And I know I will never be part of the Jewish community again. I will live my life as one who repudiated Judaism, but I will continue to keep the commandments privately. So the first pope was in fact a religious Jew, not only a Jew, but a religious Jew, according to this legend or this story. And Shimon Kippur just asked one thing. He says, I am leaving the Jewish people forever in order that other Jews should not be dragged into apostasy. But he asked the sages, please remember me. Remember the anniversary of my death. And in Toldos Yeshu it is recorded that the fast of the 9th of Teves is in memory of Peter, who in our tradition actually is a saint, Saint Peter, so to speak, because he sacrificed his own Judaism in order that Klal Yisrael should not be hurt by Christian influence. Now, to add something even more wild to this, he also composed a prayer, and he asked the sages to include this prayer in the liturgy, and this prayer is none other than the prayer Nishmas. Nishmas is a very beautiful prayer that we recite every Shabbat morning, and we recite at the Pesach Seder, and according to at least one Masorah, the author of Nishmas is none other than Shimon Kippur. And in memory of his great sacrifice for the Jewish people, we recite his beautiful prayer.
And he says, but I'll do it under one condition, that the punishment for doing such a thing will fall on all of us. I don't want to take all the blame. Meaning I'll be the fall guy, but we're sharing the punishment from heaven for using the names of God for this. And they agreed. He went to the temple and he got the names from the Kohanim, and he started doing acts of wonders for the early Christians. And when they all got rallied behind him, he says, we're moving to Rome. And everyone's like, what? And he says, that's right. It's the word of God. We're moving to Rome. And all the early Christians were like, Rome it is. We're with Bozo. And they all went to Rome. This was 2,000 years ago. It's the time of the beginning of Christianity. And they moved to Rome, and he became known as the first pope.
Our tradition tells us that the Edomites are the ancestors of the Romans, and indeed of all Europeans and the entire Christian world. The Midrash says, quote, 2 orphans were left to Esau, namely Remus and Romulus. And you, God, gave permission to a she-wolf to suckle them, and afterwards they arose and built Rome. In the Midrash, God tells David, quote, I know you can defeat Edom, but I wish to subdue my world through them, that is, through Rome. I need Rome for future generations until the final redemption.
The Edomim, Esau was called Edom, and his descendants were known as the nation of Edom. According to Chazal...
Hold on, I gotta back that up. Do you guys see how important that is? Esau, or Rome, will subjugate the whole world, but in the end, Jacob will rule over all. So they used Rome, subjugated it with Christianity, used it to subjugate the world with spreading the Torah and Messianism around the world. And in the end, where we're at today, Jacob and the Jews are ruling over it, and they're all kosher. Legends of the Jews, Louis Ginsburg.
The final redemption.
The Edomim, Esau was called Edom, and his descendants were known as the nation of Edom. According to Chazal, Edom is the father of Rome, what would later become the Roman Empire.
Edom, at the time of the Roman Empire, at the time of the Talmud, was also a reference to the Roman Empire.
When they decided it's time for a new God, and it's time for a monotheistic God, it's time to discover somewhat of the God of the Bible, who created the whole universe and who demands morals and ethics. It's a whole new type of God. We're not worshiping a star or a constellation. Lokchu es hanetzer nitov le'eleka alehem. Who did they take? They took the Netzer Nitov. He says they took the Christian, Yeshu HaNoitzri, who came from Nazareth. That's why it's Noitzri, from Nazareth in Hebrew, not Seretz. So they took him. Nitov is a disgraceful word. Le'eleka alehem, to appoint him as their Lord, as their deity, as their God. V'niskayim bekach es achicha tavoid, gam be'inyan avodas helikus. And that's when the words of Yitzchak were fulfilled. When he told his son Esav, you're going to worship your brother. You're not only going to work for your brother, Mela. There's working for a brother. People do that all the time. But you're going to worship your brother. Your avodas ha'elokus. Your brother is going to become your deity.
An empire that was at one point totally pagan becomes essentially 100% Christian. But basically Christianity is imposed upon the native populations in these countries. So for example, the idea of a creator versus the paganism of having many, many gods. These are ideas that were rooted in the Tanakh, the Jewish Bible, and become spread through the missionary efforts of Christianity, basically presenting basic Jewish ideas to the rest of the world. Why were they so successful in spreading to the entire world? Possibly, this all plays into God's plan that if the Jewish Messiah came to a pagan world, the world would not notice. It wouldn't register, because the idea of a Jewish Messiah in a pagan world doesn't engage them. It's irrelevant.
I have no problem believing that God, exactly as Maimonides put it, this movement called Christianity, spreading the God of Israel and the knowledge of the Bible and the values in the Bible and that whole faith to the world, needed to happen. And in order for it to happen, as you said, paraphrasing Maimonides, just to understand it, not necessarily agreeing with him, but to understand it, Maimonides says that God was using Jesus, and he was using this thing called Christianity to spread the knowledge of him to the world. So he did that. I don't even have a problem accepting the fact that God empowered Jesus and his followers to perform miracles. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. It doesn't, and I'm not the first rabbi to say it. There's rabbis from centuries ago who said the same thing. If that was God's plan, meaning building off of Maimonides, if God's plan was for this Christianity to be successful in spreading to the nations of the world, then why wouldn't he empower them to do that as well? It's entirely possible. If I'm playing God for a second, I need all these people in the world, all these heathens and pagans, to know me. And this is the only way it's going to work, because they need some incentive, and this concept of personal salvation, which is so central to Christianity, which has virtually no currency whatsoever.
Ha! There it is. Sorry. I knew it was coming. Truth Pav is back. He says, you guys really hold their opinions in high regard. You never even knew any of this. You never knew they said any of this stuff. This is all brand new to you, and it's conflicting with the worldview you hold. So you go, you believe the rabbis? They're liars. They lie about everything, but they told the truth when they said Jesus rose from the dead. Truth Pav, I love how they have every single same cope. You don't understand. That's not a real Christian. You believe the rabbis. No, you never knew any of this stuff. You didn't know that this is how... none of these Christians online knew that this is the way the Jews talk about Christianity and Jewish. You never knew it. Sorry, I saw the cope. I had to point out... all you guys have is copes. Copes that we've seen a million times, that we've knocked out of the park a million times. That's all you guys come with. Yeah, you believe rabbis. You believe the Bible. You believe they're chosen. You believe Rabbi Jesus and Rabbi Peter and Paul. No, you can't call me rabbi. Although, because I'm not Jewish, that's why. You got to be Jewish to be a rabbi. Yeah, Jack Stone says, you believe Paul the Pharisee who studied at the feet of one of the most revered rabbis in the Talmud, Gamaliel. Truth Pav. Isn't it funny that all they do is have these copes? He gave us you believe the rabbis? Do you believe them when they say they don't like Jesus? I love people that believe that when the rabbis say they were chosen by God, you believe that. But then when we show you how they view Christianity, you go, you believe them? They all say this. They're top rabbis. It's true. Christianity is Jewish, was started by Jews. It Judaized the world. It conquered paganism. Pav, Pavlov's dog. Yep.
In traditional Judaism, we think nationally. But this concept of personal salvation, which becomes a central component of this faith system, the idea of a tangible human being who embodies God, maybe this was necessary for people to have something to attach to. Because the Jewish people, we have the law. We have a very comprehensive relationship with God through the law. Or if I'm God and I want people to go out and I want them to spread knowledge of me, maybe it was a concession to allow this. In Judaism, there's a concept with regard to the faith of the nations. The goal of the people of Israel is to spread knowledge of God to all the peoples of the earth. The goal is not to make everyone Jewish. We're called a kingdom of priests.
Right.
And that means that there has to be a flock. If we're the priests, there's got to be a flock.
Hey, Truth Pav, guess what? You're in the flock. You're in the Jewish flock. You believe in the chosen people and the nation of priests and their prophecies and their scriptures. You call yourself a sheep following your Jewish Messiah. You are the flock. You are the cattle Goyim following their fake Jewish Messiah. Praise your rabbi, Jew Pav.
And the flock is the world. According to Judaism, our goal for the world is that everyone have faith in the God of Israel. If they also have faith...
Their goal in Judaism is everybody has faith in the God of Israel. Hey, Truth Pav, what God do you believe in? Truth Pav? Christians? You worship the God of Israel? Well, that's their whole goal.
is to spread knowledge of God to all the peoples of the earth. The goal is not to make everyone Jewish. We're called a kingdom of priests.
Right.
And that means that there has to be a flock. If we're the priests, there's got to be a flock. And the flock is the world. According to Judaism, our goal for the world is that everyone have faith in the God of Israel. If they all...
Truth Pav, why are you helping the Jews with their goals of having faith in the God that chose them? Real question. Is this computing? Is it starting to click in your brain?
Also have faith in if they also believe about the God of Israel, that he incarnated himself in a human body, that may not be what God wants from his priestly class, but it may be perfectly fine.
All right.
Another cope. You hate Christians more than Jews. You are the enablers. You lie. You're useful idiot dupes and liars. You give them their power. You enable what they do. You run around saying, yes, they were chosen. Now we get the other cope. That's another cope we hear. Hey, Truth Pav, you care more about the Jewish Messiah than Jews. Your only problem with Jews is that they don't bow down to their Messiah that was meant to conquer the Goyim.
The nations of the world, if that's their way into believing in it.
And this is going to be very strange to you. It's his brother, Esav, right? He said, you know something? You're going to bring the Gula. You're going to bring my message to the entire world. What? Where is he Esav? Esav is Rome. Esav is Edom. And Edom fundamentally, Edom or Rome is the foundation of Christianity. Christianity? You know, if you ever look at Christianity, it's a very strange thing. There was no such religion like that in the entire world. There wasn't. Why? Because Christianity is not paganism in the normal sense. In paganism, they worship idols, right? And they sacrifice to appease the gods, or whatever have you. Christianity doesn't do that. Christianity believes that you have to love God. It's incredible. So Rome conquered the world, and then Rome, of course, later on, Rome became completely Christian under Constantine and Rome, and they conquered the world and so on. The Christians nation dominate the world. They do. And what they do is they have brought the awareness of Hashem and many concepts of Torah to the world. They have. They've done it instead of us, you see. Now, that was their job.
Play the Mizrachi clip. What does he say? Happy? That'll find it. How can I not be happy?
When they took their religion from the Jews,
hold on, this one's better.
This JC, which died as a Jew, because there was one wicked person who died and then people made him a god, what does it have to do with our obligation from the Torah to learn? You know, there was one rabbi in Lausanne in Switzerland, Rabbi Berkovich, his name was also Chazan. He said that when he came to Switzerland, how can I not be happy when I see millions of goyim bow down to one Jew tonight?
Hey, Truth Pav, Christians, can you stop making Rabbi Mizrachi happy by bowing down to a Jew? Can you do that? How about you stop validating their fake history and their fairy tales in their Old Testament? Can you do that? Hey, Truth Pav, he hates paganism. He says he prefers Christianity to paganism, and he's happy that you're bowing down to the Jewish Messiah. Thoughts?
How can I not be happy when I see millions of Goyim bow down to one Jew tonight?
All right, we'll leave it there. Appreciate everybody for the support. Smash the goal. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the kill stream in a few minutes. I'll see you again tomorrow. Everybody have a nice night and take care. Let's feel like Adam Green sometimes.
Raised to be a Christian believer, but also as a seeker. Mama never held back the good, bad, or ugly from me. Eventually started wondering, after a long time of fighting myself. I saw a post that said exactly what I felt. Jesus, an ancient deception. Found Adam Green through a Twitter suggestion. Then I watched his debate with David, leaving Christianity. Finally I could do it. Lost good friends, middle fingers on their hands. So many want to remain clueless. I feel like Adam Green sometimes. I'm just asking you to see my side. Some say I'm anti-Semitic, others say that I'm a Jew, but the truth is I am neither, I'm just trying to reach you. I feel like Adam Green sometimes. I know what it's like to be seen as the devil, when in reality you're trying to help them. They say I need to be saved by Jesus, but they're the ones in need of the saving. There's already been a few, started with the fall of Rome. It's not God, it's evil people destroying these homes. Human-made prophecies try to start the end times. See a foreign land as holy, brainwashed to resent mine. Books our ancestors wanted passed down to their people got replaced with ones that say our ancestors were evil. Been worshiping demons and knowing not what they did. Should we trust ourselves or the books that make us villains? You fall for the latter and say we should be tolerant, but your faith builds a prison in your head. I feel like Adam Green sometimes.